SMTN.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network, link 341. I'm your host, Spencer Presley. Joining me, waiting in the scorching, blazing hot suns in sunny San Diego. We're outside of Hall H, ready to watch Deadpool and Wolverine. I've got my best pal and Marvel aficionado, Marshall, the Manhunter.
How's it going, guys? Ready to talk about some Vengeance today?
Yeah, we're sitting here and we're like, you know what's the best way, as we're waiting outside of San Diego Comic-Con to start, Marsh, is let's just talk about Shin Megami Tensei Vengeance, because really what else is there? There's no news happening in America. Isn't it amazing? Like, there's been no news in the last, month.
Yeah, I'm playing the whole game in line right now, actually.
Could you imagine, imagine you are at Comic-Con and you're like, guys, have you heard the word of SMT V Vengeance?
And it's like, you want to know my thoughts on it? Just give me a few minutes. Like, I got to keep playing it. I'm just standing here.
You know what? I did lie to you earlier, Marsh. I did say there's no news, but we didn't talk about actually the biggest news of SMT V. Did you hear about the Vivisky?
I did, actually, yeah. The Vivisky.
The fact that it is called SMTVV Visky.
That's great.
Is possibly the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I guess, not to derail, I guess there's some news, like there's the Digital Devil Saga, acrylic set they came out.
Well, I mean, okay. Actually, no, that is true. There is actually news, because I recorded last week's episode so early, we brought it up, and I was like, there is no fucking way that the DDS soundtracks are going to get added to Spotify, and then literally the day the episode went live was the day that they got added to Spotify.
Yeah, they did it. I love that soundtrack. One of the best. So it's about time.
So I'm glad not only that they did it, it was both games. I was worried they were going to, spoon feed us of, only one, and then, 6 months later you'd get two. I'm glad it's all of them. I will say the 20th anniversary merch is pretty weak. It's cool.
Yeah.
But, my one thing if you're doing merch for an anniversary, I feel like the bare minimum is you could do, one new drawing. Get somebody to do something new.
It's just, I'm not really an acrylic or button person, and, all merch to me is, it's all acrylics and buttons. So I just, never buy it. I bought the skateboard.
So now what you're telling me is when I meet you in person, I have to give you the Persona 3 Reload Wendy's acrylic button set. It's your favorite thing of all time.
I'd take it. I have one acrylic, and it's from the Persona anniversary. It's Makoto. That's it. One acrylic.
Was that the 20th anniversary acrylic?
It's when they did new drawings of all the protagonists. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, well, I mean, see, but again, it's an acrylic, which is cheap and boring, but it's a new drawing, so that's what makes you want to have it.
Yeah, but yeah, DDS, it's not great. I wish they did a skateboard. I'd buy that, or a statue or something, a figure.
Make sense of this for me. So I'm a big giant dumb sicko nerd for collectibles of I love steelbooks, I love art books, soundtracks. I love collecting garbage. I don't get skate decks. What is it? And I used to fucking skateboard all the time. I love skate culture. But my thing is when it comes to skateboarding is I think about getting a garbage deck and just playing around, having fun. I never cared what design was on the bottom of my skateboard. So that's why. But then again, I would think, but if I did care, I probably would never skate with it.
Yeah, I'm not going to skate with, the SE. I think it's really cool. I like the idea. And, if they did, Vans or something, I'd buy that so fast. Shoes. I'd buy that in an instant.
Oh,
yeah.
See, I thought you were meaning, how, Vans did, actually, collectible blind bags for Pokemon skate decks. Did you see those?
I've not seen those.
So they're blind bag skate decks, which is an obnoxious design. They're blind bags. There's very gold versions, and you got one of like 13 random Pokemon on a skate deck.
It sounds cool. I guess it depends on how much it costs. If it's like a lot of money and you don't like what you
I think
get.
MSRP was like around $100, which I think is fair,
Yeah.
especially for like an official like skateboard deck. The aftermarket price on them, they're all like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. They're stupid expensive because it was like at the peak of like Pokemon pandemic wave.
Yeah. I mean, like the SMT one was like 80 and nobody even bought it. Like they didn't even sell all of them.
Well, I was gonna say because you got the skate deck when it was on clearance, right?
No, no, no. I was one of those stupid people like refresh, refresh, refresh. This is gonna sell out in an instant. And nobody bought them.
So,
Yeah.
fun fact, because it like took forever to sell out, that skate deck got down to like 13
Yeah.
bucks. It was like they couldn't give them
I
away.
bought it at work in the bathroom because I thought they were gonna sell out. I went to the bathroom.
Dude, I relate to the sneaking out to the
Yeah.
bathroom to do the online order. I relate to that way too
Like,
much.
this is gonna sell out like immediately, and then like nobody bought it.
You should have tweeted out about that. That should be your way of like letting people know that you're a man of the people.
I tweeted that I bought
You know
it, but not
you're
in the bathroom.
yeah, you're not a money hat unless you're sneaking out to the bathroom to make sure it doesn't sell out before you can get to it.
I did the same thing when this was years before when they reprinted Soul Hackers, and like that sold out like in literally like a microsecond.
Yeah, which was funny because Atlus reprints back then really didn't sell out very much with it. No, hold on. Are you talking about the one from like 2016 and on, or are you talking about the one that was like 2019, 2020?
It was like 2020. I think it was on like this. I don't know what the website's called.
Video Games
Yeah,
Plus.
it was that one.
Yeah. Okay. So that one was like less of a reprint and more of a hey, we found a box of Canadian copies, and so now here you go
Well, I
buy it,
missed
everybody.
yeah. I was refreshing and I still missed it.
Should have gone to the bathroom earlier. Should have refreshed it twice. I remember back when I used to work at Xerox, because God knows no one's ever going to hold me accountable for this now, and God knows I'm never going to come back to working for Xerox. Xerox would be so slow that, like, when I would do, like, especially in my heyday of buying stuff from Limited Run, I would have my phone and two different PCs. I would have like a hardwired in laptop and a desktop, because sometimes one would load faster than the other, because it was that thing of like you can't just rely on like one device to get there. Like all three were logged in, all ready to check out, and like even then when I would miss stuff, I would like go feral. It was just so infuriating.
Yeah, I shouldn't have missed that Soul Hackers. I had like the universal clock open, like down to the millisecond.
Man,
Synchronized.
talk about garbage pricings. I am so glad I picked up all those Atlus games, like, not only, like, at MSRP, there were so many games I bought, like, stupidly cheap. I still have, like, my Amazon receipt of, I bought Devil Survivor Overclocked, brand new for $11 with free shipping, like, in 2015, 2016.
Yeah, like I did that with some of them. Like I did that with Devil's Survivor 2, Record Breaker, but I didn't do it with Soul Hackers because I thought I was younger and I was like, like this game doesn't look that good, and I was stupid because it's not my favorite game. So.
Man, bad opinion Marsh back in the day.
I had shitty
See,
opinions,
like,
didn't think it was good.
I remember because Soul Hackers I think was the first 3DS game I bought at launch for Atlus, and I remember just because it was I'd been a fan of it for so long that like even when it got announced, I was like, I couldn't believe we were getting it in English. It was so wild. So like that was one that like literally. It could have been like Gaiten Tensei, and I still would have been hyped. But like, it was just one of those weird ones of like, I had convinced myself we were never going to get Soul Hackers, so I was like, no, I mean, I've got to get it. Like, it could have been the most 7 out of 10 Atlus game, and I still would have been as excited.
I think the only one that I bought like right away was Redux. I bought that like immediately.
So, I don't know if I've told this story. I remember I was reviewing Redux. This is back when I would actually get review codes. I had a copy of Redux and I was playing it. And I remember I canceled my reserved copy. I was like, you know what?
No thanks.
It's not... No, like, and it wasn't like it's because it was bad. Like, I like Redux. Like, there's a lot of good things to do with it. It was that one thing of, like, there was no collector's edition, there was no dub, and I remember playing it early, and I'm like, I just like I'm excited for people to get this. I just there's no reason for me to buy this right away. I already have a digital copy from my review. I'll pick it up eventually. It should there was like if the reverse of FOMO was a feeling, it was me reviewing Soul Hackers. No, it was me reviewing Deep Strange Journey. Just it was just like, yeah, I can no like it was that It's like that meme from SpongeBob where like the little kids are hanging out in the behind the Krusty Krab, and like I think Mr. Krabs like builds them like the really
Like the
shitty
theme
amusement park.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, "Come on, kids, go have fun." He's like, "Oh no, it's all right, you can keep it."
Yeah. I I don't even think they like advertised that game. Like they didn't do anything.
No, dude, it was such a, which like again like what a fuck you too, because remember, Deep Strange Journey was the 30th anniversary game. That was the big celebration game.
It wasn't so great, maybe.
Well, like, let's be honest, like, because, like, have you seen the super fucking enormous 30th anniversary box they did for the collector's edition in Japan? Like, if we had something like that, fuck yeah, I would have bought that, like, day one. But, like, the biggest joke with Deep Strange Journey is its pre-order bonus, which isn't even a pre-order bonus, it was in every copy of the game. They legitimately tried to lie to you and say, like, hey, what's the reason to buy this game physically? They said free poster included with every copy.
No.
So you may be asking yourself, oh, where's the poster?
There's no poster.
No, it's the reverse box art. If you look at it vertically, the reverse box art looks like a
I'm
poster.
supposed to take the box art out. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
It better be good. I've never
like,
noticed that.
It was like, I remember, I was like, I will buy this game eventually. I will keep an eye on it. As soon as it went on sale, I will pick it up. And I probably didn't pick it up on its first sale, but I remember I eventually picked it up like almost 9 months after it exactly. There was a Target in town that started clearancing out 3DS games, and they were doing a deal basically of like anything at this store that was on clearance got an additional 50% off. So I got it brand new for $20, and I was like, perfect. That's the perfect price to pay for this game.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I bought it like right away. So I don't even remember what it was. I think it was 50. It wasn't even 60.
No, that was 40. The only ones that were ever 50 was PQ, SMT5, and I remember because I always fucked this up. Record Breaker also was $50.
So Redux was only 40. That's crazy. I
Yeah.
don't even remember it.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, I think we would have given them a lot of shit if like they charged 50 and they literally couldn't even localize the game with an English voice cast.
Yeah. I can't believe I bought it like pre-ordered it on Amazon, I think. It's like not even that long ago, but it feels like it was.
Yeah, how weird is that to think like that was literally 6 years ago?
Yeah, like 6 years. I don't even remember. Too much has changed since 2008.
Oh, dude, like I remember I was talking to someone recently about Persona Q2. You would have thought I was talking about Innocent Sin, about how old I made it seem. But it was like, yeah, it was pre-pandemic. I was playing it. I was waiting for Persona Q2. Oh my god, I was so excited. It was the last 3DS game I was ever gonna buy. And I was like, yeah, it was a fucking 5 years ago, dude. It wasn't that long ago.
It really feels like it was. Like, I don't even. It's fucked up. 2018. I bought PQ, but I didn't buy 2.
Funny, weird stories about Persona Q2 people probably don't remember. Do you own or did you pre-order Q2?
No, I never bought it. Only the first one.
So, Q2 was a really funny case, because like most people know this, but especially back in the day, Atlus games would be ready months before they actually came out. Like, that was one of the funny things about it. Remember the last-minute delay for Persona 5 from, like, February of 2017 to, like, April?
I do remember that, yeah.
The best part about that was that game got delayed when I had it.
Like,
I had the game, and they were like, guys, we gotta keep working on the game for another
I wonder why they do it.
Nothing too much. It was like, I think they just wanted to produce more copies because they knew it was going to sell a lot and they just didn't want it to be hard to find. It was just so funny because it was just like, it's like, bro, we have the game. You can't just like,
we're not even working on it.
Just like lie to us like that. I think they like said they were like trying to like iron out some bugs or like tighten up the localization, but like there was never even a patch. So it was like I don't know I don't know what this was ever for. Like I was like, that's like, there's a couple of like really random Atlus West lies that I will never understand, and that definitely is one of them. Because like I remember people lost their minds when P5 got delayed from February to April. They were like, because like we'd waited and waited and waited, and they took so long.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like Valentine's Day or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Take Your Heart. It was going to be on Valentine's Day. Like they had a whole marketing campaign themed and around Valentine's Day too, which is even more wild.
I very clearly remember that, but not Redux. But like I remember the whole P5. I remember going to the store and people actually knew. That's the first time I said like I want to get Persona. Like I said that in real life. That's the first time I ever said something like that.
You changed that GameStop employee after
Probably.
that. He's a changed man after that day. So what was another one? So no, the one of the funny things about Persona Q2 that people don't know about was for some reason, and this is so wild and should go to show how little of a fuck Atlus gave about that game. That game released in June of 2019, and in the beginning of May, Amazon started shipping out copies randomly. And not like, oh, like, oops, we sent a couple out, let's recall them, or like, oh, it was only like 5 or 10. No, 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 it was like thousands. It was more rare if your copy was ordered from Amazon and you didn't get it shipped. And I remember it was so funny to the point that I think I asked somebody who was working at Atlus at the time, I was like, can you just like bump up the release date? Because like it was like people had this game a month and a half before release, and they just were like, nah,
That's crazy.
we'll wait.
A month and a half before. I don't remember that either. I must not have cared too much. I don't even remember
No,
it.
well, I mean, I think about it though, like kind of similar to Deep Strange Journey. It was a 3DS game, no localization for the voiceover, and like late into the like we were 2+ years into the Switch when Q2 came out.
Wait. It doesn't have a dub?
No dub.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like because like you can kind of make sense of why they cheaped out for Strange
The
Journey.
Persona.
It makes no sense why they cheaped out on
I didn't
Persona.
even know that. I don't even
Yeah.
want to play it. I love the dubs. It's like maybe some people hate them, but
It's worth it at the very least for the soundtrack. I mean, I like Q2 for sure, but I always tell people that it's got secretly the best soundtrack in the series. But because like 7 people played that game,
how do
nobody
they
knows
not
it.
dub a Persona game? What? That's terrible.
Yeah,
I didn't
dude.
know that.
Dude, and the best part was, like, literally you asked everyone involved with it. It had to have been, like, a Japan decision, because everyone was like, the voice actors wanted to do it, the localizers wanted to do it, like, everyone wanted to do it. It was like, why not?
Really, nobody must have played that because I've never heard that. They didn't. There's no dub. I've never heard that.
Yeah. I mean, and think about it, too, because, like, the whole point of that game is the fan service of crossing over
Yeah,
Persona
that's the
3,
whole,
4,
that's
and
the whole reason
5.
you play it is to hear them like interact.
It's like, oh man, I sure love seeing, because like there were even like funny things, like they even made jokes about it in Persona Q1. Remember of like, Yosuke would like be talking to Makoto and be like, oh hey, you guys kind of sound
Same
familiar,
guy,
like
yeah,
like
yeah.
leaning into it and stuff like that with it. I'm like, nah.
That's
I hope
bad.
you like Japanese Goro Akechi.
Like it's probably fine, but as someone who's played all the games dubbed and had like I don't play them in Japanese, so that would lose interest probably.
Yeah, yeah. It's a whole thing of like, it's like it would be the equivalent of, I imagine, like I took my, like, let's say I took my significant other to go watch The Last Jedi as her first Star Wars movie,
Yeah, and it was in fun.
and I'm like, here you go, honey, enjoy this movie. Who the fuck is this? Who are all these people? What are you? What's the first Jedi? What the hell's a midichlorian? What is all of this? What does
Yeah.
this mean?
What a mess.
I mean, hey, we at least got a collector's edition out of it, though. So they at least improved upon Strange Journey.
That like ruined my night. Like I might have played it eventually. That ruined my night that there's no English. That's terrible.
You know what was funny, and this like goes to show like how like naive I was, but like you ever like seen like that like meme or like that like the thing of like if I ever won the lottery, I wouldn't tell you, but you would know if blank
There'd be a dubbed
happened.
version.
No joke. That's always been like my dream of like I want to just throw a stupid amount of money into making because people have done fan dubs. I don't want a fan dub. Everyone in this game is still alive to my knowledge. Like I would just want to pay everybody to be themselves in the game from the English voice cast, and I think that would be
You should
huge.
go on like Fiverr and give them like a 10-hour script and pay it
Well,
a
that's the
shitload
thing.
of
There's
money.
not even that much like spoken dialogue. It literally like there's a couple of cutscenes, and like most of it's still pretty text heavy. Like it wasn't like that much of an. It's not like it was a fucking Danganronpa script.
I remember the first game feeling like it had a lot, but maybe just the beginning.
Well, it would ebb and flow. Like I think like compared to a normal RPG script, I would say it's small.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
So. You know, it'd be really funny, speaking of bringing people into things with zero context if they didn't know anything. I really hope everyone listening to this episode is aware of who you are, because, man, we just really went on a goddamn long tangent there.
Yeah, whoops.
So, 20 minutes later, Marsh, how have you been?
I've been okay, you know. Not great, not my best.
Yeah, man, you've been pumping some
Pumping some
iron, I've been
iron.
told.
I guess I posted about it on Twitter. I guess for anybody who doesn't know, which I'd be surprised if somebody didn't know. But
For everyone get your Marsh lore journals out.
I was at the gym and I dropped a big plate on my foot, and I wear a big boot now and can't walk. So it's 50 pounds.
My
It
thing
wasn't
that I
good.
can't understand about this is why it stopped you from driving. Can't you just swap legs?
I can't drive with my left leg. Can you?
I want you to know, I've probably driven in very unsafe ways just out of curiosity.
I couldn't do it.
I once drove barefoot for 2 hours, and I remember primarily driving with my pinky toe and swapping out with my big toe. Because I thought my feet will get less tired, because I'd like come home from like, I think it was like Worlds of Fun or something. It was like either Worlds of Fun or, no, it was Oceans of Fun. Because I remember that's why I didn't want to like wear like wet socks, and I didn't want to wait for my feet to dry,
Yeah.
and I had to drive really, really far, and I remember just being like, oh god, my feet are really tired. I'll just drive with my pinky toe, and I remember my wife being like, you're a psychopath. Like, what if like your foot slips? Like, what are you like? What are you gonna do then? Like, you don't have any control.
I couldn't do
It's
that.
like,
The doctor said I can't drive for one thing, so that's another reason. If I do and I fuck up, the whole fucking like hospital goes to like court, so I can't do that.
damn.
But that's crazy.
I like to imagine your hospital's like only remaining budget is on you not driving.
Like,
They're like,
please
we
don't
can't,
drive.
we financially can't hold anything
Just
back.
begging you not to drive. I probably could, like, after I dropped it, like, there's like, no, I won't get into the detail, but it was bad. But I drove to the hospital. But then after I got there, it was over. I couldn't do anymore. But I was able to drive to
I'm
the
just
hospital.
imagining like you're sitting there in the car. Ow, ow,
I was
ow.
making some
Ow.
sounds. Yeah, it was not pleasant.
The moment the weight hit your foot, was there like an internal or even an external array of sounds that I imagined the theme song to Curb Your Enthusiasm just started playing. Like, what
Yeah.
happened?
Also, the gym was like empty, and I dropped it. I didn't make.
I'm hoping you just did this at like a Planet Fitness at like 2 a.m.
It was like a local gym, so like there's no lunk alarm or anything like that.
I'm just oh my god, would that have classified for the Lunk?
If it did, I would have been really, really mad. If that stupid alarm went off. I just like crushed my foot.
Hey, look, who let the fucking dillweed throw the weight on his foot?
There's nothing.
Because like I want you to know, with like the picture you've showed me of your foot, without knowing the actual extent of the damage, I'm just imagining it looks like Gallagher fucking exploded a watermelon on your foot.
Like the first day it was like that, but now it's just like it's fine. It's getting better.
Oh my god.
I didn't make any noise.
I hope-
didn't scream or anything.
I hope that like your only long-lasting repercussion from this happening, Marsh, is just for some because it was your left? No, it was your
My
right foot, right?
Yeah.
I hope for the only thing that will change is your right foot will now be 2 sizes bigger than your left foot. Everything else will be the same. Like it doesn't hurt. There's no major
Just slightly
swelling.
bigger.
It just caused it to like grow 2 sizes.
That'd be worse. I'd have to like buy two different shoes, two different pairs.
No, what you would do is you would just buy Nomura shoes. You'd buy like one overly large shoe, and the other one you would just stuff on like the other end with like tissue paper.
Okay, yeah, I could do that. So I don't know. I'm fine now, but it sucked. I still can't really do too much.
It was just really funny, especially of like you telling, like you posting about that on probably the one day everyone and their mother on Twitter is going to talk about
Looking at
anything
something
but
different.
you.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, dude, I'm sorry. Like, you could have been like, hey, my cat got ran over and it
Like,
was in a
we don't care
drive-by.
right now.
It would be like, hey, dude, we gotta talk about this fucking ketchup conspiracy. We gotta figure this shit out first.
Yeah, it was quite the day. I was pissed. More than anything, I was just pissed. I was like, by the time I realized I dropped it, it was too late. It was already over. And I was like, my week's ruined. This week's ruined too. And so the next 2 weeks, 'cause I can't leave my house.
I'm just imagining you're like the fucking review, like the food review guy. Be like, my week
Review
is
Pro,
ruined.
yeah. My day's ruined.
Like, unless like I'm missing something, like really outside of you're gonna have to buy a new, less bloody shoe. Like how violent, like how much is this really affecting your day-to-day life?
I can't leave the house, so like I just kind of have to sit around with this boot on and like work on the computer.
Yeah, but like now you've become peak Marsh.
Yeah,
You're at home. You're gaming. Your Fortnite Battle Pass records have never been higher. Like, dude, you're crushing it.
I was like, I don't know, like being able to drive is like something I don't give a shit. But then when they say, "Oh, you can't do that now," it's like, oh, now I'm upset. Now I'm sad.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. It's like when you don't have a car and you've never had a car, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When you've had a car and that's your only means of transportation and that's taken away from you,
Now I'm like, I don't feel so
it's
good. Like I'm kind of upset.
how the fuck did I ever make a 2 a.m. run to Little Caesars before this? Like, what the fuck do I do with my life?
Everything's just a pain. Like I have to get help to go to the store, do anything. So it's only a few weeks, so it's not like super long, but it's still just weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just been really odd. I mean, like, I don't mind doing your groceries for you every day, but like, if you could just stop ordering milk and condoms like in the same transaction, that would it would make me a lot less uncomfortable at the checkout line for you because I have to then explain it's not for me.
I've been making big trips. Like I went to Aldi. You know Aldi? That's the best.
I literally, because I have my windows open right now, I can see the
Aldi's
Aldis across the
best.
street. That's how close I live to an Aldi's.
Yeah. It's cheap, so I bought like so much stuff so I don't have to keep bothering people to like take me to the store when I'm 23 years old.
But I mean, hey, it sucks,
It happens,
but I
I
feel
guess.
like at the very least, this will definitely be a story that we will make fun of you for the rest of your life for.
Yeah, it's not even like a cool like way to break a bone. It's just like, oh, I like slipped
No,
for 5
no.
seconds and dropped the weight.
Yeah, I was climbing Grand Canyon one armed, and I fucking my shoulder blade came out, and it was like no, it's like I oops banana peeled my own weight on myself, and then I made the Charlie Brown scream, and then I woke up in the hospital.
Like, if you want to know more, if you have like some Patreon exclusive like nasty podcast, like I can tell you like gross shit. Like it was yucky, but I'm not gonna do it on this one.
I'm just imagining like it was like the cartoon, like because like I assume you got an X-ray of your foot, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Like what you. I was gonna be like, no one would click on this, but like for the like, what I would love is I was like, you know what we should do for the thumbnail
the
of this
X-ray?
episode? It
Yeah.
should just be the X-ray of your foot.
That'd be really funny. They didn't give it to me, unfortunately.
I'd like a PDF actually of my. No, can I get a PNG of my X-ray?
I could probably
please?
request it. I think I have a right to, and then we could use it.
Oh my god, that would. I mean, at least like, can you imagine how hard that would be for like a Twitter background?
It'd be awesome.
Like it could be like your profile image.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick, honestly.
Jesus Christ. How did your friends and family like take to it though?
It's fine. I mean, like, It's not like fatal, I guess. So I just sit around the house now. I don't know. But
I imagine I feel like you'd be if you were the kind of guy who lost his leg or arm in like a 127 hours incident, I feel like you would at least have a good attitude about it.
I didn't have a good attitude. I did. I was positive at the hospital, but I don't know. Ugh, I can't get into it. I don't want to gross out your listeners. What happened to me is one of my biggest, like, I never want this to happen. I'll just leave it. I'll tell you after, but it was gross. So I was a little like upset. But I had a good attitude. I was nice to the people. It was a good experience. It was a good first run through the American healthcare system. So
That, that was your first run like since birth?
I've never been to the hospital. Yeah.
That's one. Let me tell you, as someone who's been there for very annoying reasons, not like there's not a good reason, but oh my! Every time I go to the hospital or think about having to go to the hospital, I'm like, I already hate this. Like my inner like Larry David comes out, and I'm like, I fucking hate this. I fucking hate being here. I hate how expensive I know it's gonna be. I hate how slow everything's gonna be. Like I don't know. Like, and it's funny because like I think if I worked in a hospital, I wouldn't hate it. I only hate the idea of being a patient at a hospital.
I don't know. Like the nurse that was with me, she was like on like a 12-hour shift. And like I've done 12-hour shifts and I hate them, but it wasn't like saving like lives or taking care of people. So I think it'd be even worse.
I imagine I would have like the least glamorous job possible. I wouldn't be like an RN or I wouldn't be like a doctor
Yeah.
or even like a front desk person. I would be like I would do data entry or be in the morgue or both. Like that
Okay.
would be it.
Okay.
Those are the
Yeah.
only two things I would do.
Well, data entry, that might not be so bad. Yeah, but the hospital's slow. You're right. It's really slow.
A
Ugh.
lot of Vitas, a lot of Vita game time at the
I should have brought my
at the
Vita,
hospital.
if only.
So, man, I'm glad you survived though because like could you imagine if that was the end of you and the internet would have just said, "Oh fuck, I'll never know what Marsh SMT thought of Vengeance."
It'd be like the stupidest way to die. They're like required to tell you this, I guess. But like when they're like, yeah, well, if it gets infected, like we might have to like cut it off. I was like, what? Don't say that.
So, fun fact, they legally have to tell you because you're an adult. I found out when I had my appendicitis that doctors, if you're a child, they will lie to your face.
Yeah, nobody ever told me something like that before. Yeah, like, we might have to cut this off. We don't know. It's like what?
It's a maybe. It just depends on their mood.
I didn't get infected. I took all the pills, and thank God it didn't get infected. So I will keep my foot.
Marsh, when I had my appendix rupture the first time, I didn't realize until after the surgery and the appendix got removed, we'd found out the reason I had been in pain for so long. I basically I was homesick because like I apparently had like the worst stomach flu or stomach pains possible. We then later found out my appendix had imploded a week before I had been admitted to the
What?
hospital. So I had gotten gangrene because it's like yeah,
Oh,
like what are you gonna do when you have a fucking open wound
inside
in
your
your body
body.
and it's not gonna. So I got gangrene, and I remember talking to like one of the doctors after the surgery. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't even know people could still get gangrene." I was like,
Oh,
it's like, I thought it was just one of those things you get in the Civil War, and they like got rid of it.
nah, you can still get it, but that's crazy. For a week, I can't even believe that.
It was so bad because I remember it was like, oh dang, getting up really hurts. Oof, walking upstairs, that's really tough. All right, I just can't get out of bed anymore. Well, just
Jeez,
fucking.
that's scary.
It was, dude, because I was in like fifth or sixth grade, and it's like we went to a doctor, like our normal general physician, and he was like, it's probably like a stomach ache or something. He'll be
Yeah,
fine.
maybe. Probably not. Jeez, for a week.
Yeah, and so what was funny, like when I got to the surgery before they put me under anesthetics, I was like, I knew they were going to remove it, but I was like, I was really scared because of how much like it was killing me. The pain was like insane, and I had like no medicine or anything at that point. But I just remember asking before passing out, and I was like, okay, how safe is this surgery? And he's like, don't worry. It's a super easy procedure. And I mean, to be fair, if you normally have appendicitis, like, do you still have your appendix?
Yeah, yeah.
So no matter whether you're like 11 or 98 years old, if you have your appendix implode, and a normal traditional like process for it of like it blows up a day and a half later you go to the hospital, you're completely fine. It's like one of the most mundane surgeries. Like it almost never has complications. So, like, normally that is the case.
That's good.
But then apparently I was, like, that one edge case. Like, I was that one episode of, like, Grey's Anatomy where they opened me up and they saw the gangrene and they were like, holy fuck, this dude's gonna die. And they were like, no way. Because it's like, what do you do? Like, you open somebody up and you're expecting just to get rid of this little tiny sack of flesh and you're like, oh,
That's
shit.
different.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, this shit grows. It's growing on him. We gotta get rid of this shit now.
What a stupid organ. It does nothing.
Oh, I know, yeah. Yeah, it literally, its job is to be the size of a finger puppet and then implode and kill you slowly.
So stupid. I wish I had mine out now. I don't even want this.
You can do it. It's like tonsils. Like, if you pay them enough, they'll do it. It's just
Pay 'em
expensive.
enough.
Yeah, but that's how I found out, because we were talking about how stupid expensive ambulances were. So back then, in like 2004, 2005, an ambulance driving 15 minutes from a house to a hospital was $6,500.
Yeah, it's like 10 now, and I have insurance, but I didn't want to I just didn't care. Like I don't want to pay any extra money. I don't want to pay anything extra. So I just I got a ride. Still haven't gotten the bill, so I don't even know how much it costed. I have insurance.
I can't wait.
So.
I want you to send me a message of it when you get the bill, just so I can be like, here's my bill for $9,000. Well, so you have to remember, because like you gave them your health insurance information, right?
Yeah, they have it.
So they'll show you the breakdown though before and after
Right,
health insurance.
yeah.
That's the scariest part.
If it's actually out of my pocket, thousands of dollars, it's over. The
No,
channel's over.
I would be.
I'm done.
I would. Guys, AdSense is officially on.
Take back everything
Let's
I
get the
said.
Marsh donation bank. Someone's got to sell the P3R headphones now.
Yeah, I don't actually want these anymore. That would suck.
I feel like for what you did though, like
A few hundred?
you're most likely,
$1,000?
yeah, like I would say your copay is most likely just going to be like a few $100 at most.
Yeah. Well, I got antibiotics and pain medicine for they didn't take my insurance for that, but it was $12 for a bottle of oxycodone. I was like, what? Are you serious?
And no wonder America has a fentanyl problem. This shit's cheap.
$12. It's that didn't seem right, but whatever.
Man, we're can you tell everybody we're in need of news? You know what's funny though? I didn't even think about this when I made the San Diego Comic-Con joke. There is actually more news.
I don't know it, metaphor or something.
No metaphor. It's Persona news actually. So I'm not sure how much or how little you'll have to say on this, but it's news nonetheless. I do have to ask though: have you ever been to Comic-Con, like a proper SDCC Comic-Con?
No, only small cons.
So I've gone to Comic-Con 2 different years. I went whatever year Scott Pilgrim came out. I think that was 2011, 2012. And that was before it came out, which, by the way, was absolutely wild because Universal was promoting the fuck out of that movie, and it was so funny because then a month later it came out and just completely bombed. It was like being at Comic-Con, we're like, whoa, Scott Pilgrim's gonna be so fucking huge, everyone's gonna go. Oh, 9 people saw this in theaters? Okay, alright, well, I was there at least. I remember this is how down bad I was for Scott Pilgrim. I mean, I still love Scott Pilgrim, the book and everything for it, but what was so funny was I found a way to watch that movie before release 3 times. I had gone to 2 pre-release screenings. They showed it at Comic-Con, and I was by the time it finally came out officially, I still dragged all my friends back home to go see it. I was like, guys, you gotta see this movie. You don't understand. You have to see Scott Pilgrim.
I remember the game more than the actual movie. That arcade game.
I highly recommend, because I feel like people talked about it when it was out, but haven't really talked about it as much. The anime is fantastic. The one on Netflix is a 10 out of 10 anime. I really love it.
I'll have to check it out.
It is. Have you seen the rebuild Ava movies, the ones that came out after the show?
Not yet. It's on my list. I need to see them.
So you know how those fuck around with your expectations of being a retelling?
Yeah.
That's what the Scott Pilgrim anime is.
Okay. That sounds cool.
So that is all I'll say with that. But yeah, it's really short. The anime is great. The animation is super awesome. I forget the name of the studio who does it, but they've done a lot of really good work before. I think they Fuck, I'm gonna have to look it up. I think they did work on Devilman Crybaby. I may be wrong, but I'll look it up. But the big claim to fame, speaking of voice acting, is the Scott Pilgrim anime literally got the entire voice cast of the movie
Oh,
to do
okay.
the anime.
That's actually pretty sick. I'll have to watch it
So
if it's like just on Netflix. I could go watch it later.
I think it's like 6 episodes. It's a super easy watch.
I don't watch too much anime. Like the last thing I watched was Edge Runners, which was great. That one.
You know what's wild? I still haven't finished that. I've seen like 2 episodes, and I'm like, I I love everything about this. I just haven't sat down and watched it. I'm really bad about watching
Me
things, but
too.
like what gave me the itch to watch it was like, did you hear the Edge Runners news this week?
I did. I don't even play Guilty Gear. I play Blaze Blue, but now I might play Guilty
Dude,
Gear.
she will be fucking huge. Like that's like a 10 out of 10
It's
collab. Like
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, that's a super super sick one. Um, so the studio who did the animation for it was called Science Saru. And let me pull up because they've done a bunch of other like animation help work stuff for it, but they're mostly known for shout out. They worked on Yokai Watch the movie. That's not what they're known for, but I
Nice.
appreciate that being like the second thing they ever worked on. They worked on where is this hiding? Oh, weird. They did an episode of Adventure Time,
Huh.
and they did Space Dandy. They did like some animation assistance for Studio IG, and they helped out on OKKO. Yep, Devilman Crybaby. Yeah, they were the primary animation studio on that one. I really liked that was the 2018 Netflix version.
I've seen some of that too. I like that Devilman.
Oh shit, I forgot. They did a short for Star Wars Visions, which was like the weird like anime anthology thing they did.
Oh, that's like Halo Legends. You've seen that?
Marsh, this is one of the things I love about you. A normal person would say it was like the
And it's
Animatrix,
like Halo
but no,
Legends.
being a psychopath, you would say, yeah, it's like Halo. You know, the tentative property Halo Legends.
It's
The
a
fucking
Western thing that has like nothing in common with anime, and then they make an anime out of it.
God bless
I mean, I
you.
guess
God
I guess
bless you.
Star Wars is like inspired by Japanese stuff, but I don't know. That's just what came to mind. Halo Legends.
No, that was the perfect tie. I clearly should have said Halo Legends. The whole audience would have gotten it immediately. So, world's longest tie-in ever. So yes, I've been to SDCC before. It is definitely line fest of the convention, like because I've been to AX once, and AX pales in comparison to like how much Comic Con, just because Comic Con takes over the entirety of San Diego. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, I need to go one day.
Have, have you ever been to San Diego, just like in general?
No, like I've never been to I've never been to like California, like Washington. I've never been out that far. Like I've been past it.
We gotta do like a proper. We all go broke, but we do all gotta just straight up suck it up and meet up at like either like MomoCon or like AX or something. Like we gotta have like a proper like get together location, which like is funny because I feel like in retrospect, I feel like we should have just done that last year for the concert. Like my biggest regret with that
Yeah.
concert last year was like I should have guilted more of you guys to go to it because I was like, damn, that concert was really good. I wish you guys could have gone.
Well, when was it? I don't even remember. Was it like January or something?
It's like always 4th of July weekend.
4th of July. Well, I might have been able to go. You know, once I quit this job, I can go. After I quit this
I
job.
mean, once you go into horrendous amounts of medical debt, you'll be solid.
Yeah, yeah. I do want to go to one of these big cons, like maybe next year or sometime in the near future. There's
I guess like not would you, how would you feel if you ever got to the point where like I've always been the one of like I love going to conventions like big, small, medium size, whatever. I love to go, I love to like cover them and like either like run panels or like do things at the show in terms of like media access. But like I've always like wondered like for those cons that like invite YouTube like creators and stuff like
yeah.
that for it of like would that ever be weird like you just get the email and be like hey, Mr. Marsh, we'd love to have you at New York Comic Con 2025. Can we fly you out?
No, it'd be totally bizarre. I talked to somebody the other day. who like works for some gaming company, but they've watched my channel and
Bobby Kotick at Activision reached out personally.
hearing somebody else like say like like remember this from your like Majin Tensei video. Like from my perspective, like I don't talk about it in real life and it doesn't leave my room. So like if somebody reached out to me and said like we want you to come to a con, when I got there, I'd feel like a complete like fraud. Like it's all made up. Like I don't talk about this in real life. It just wouldn't feel real. I'd be like, yeah, like I'll go. I wouldn't know how to act. I wouldn't even know like what to expect. It'd be so weird.
I feel like at least through our conversations we've ever had like on the show, I think you could do a great job in terms of like you would handle yourself really well for like a convention in terms of like I think you could run a great panel, but it would be one of those things of like just don't like run into me like at the food court and expect me to like have a great answer for you. I'd really like it's not like one of those things like I feel like you're not one of those people who's like always on. You know what I mean?
Exactly
Like there's
right.
not always like
Yeah. If you like walked up to me and just like wanted to talk, like I would do it and I'd be happy to, but it would just be like maybe you don't want to meet me like that in that context.
can you imagine? Imagine some. All right, everybody. Here's my new thread. Don't meet your
Don't
heroes,
meet your
Marsh
hero.
edition.
It's not that I wouldn't be mean or something. It's probably just not what you. I wouldn't be like as funny as you'd probably like want me to be or something like that. It would be different than the videos. I'd be like, oh hi, like I can't believe you watch my shit. I'd be like more starstruck to meet a fan than somebody actually like meeting me. If that makes
You're gonna
sense.
run into like a fan at Aldi's one day, and he's gonna like just piss himself right there in the line. He's gonna be like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, like I got a comment the other day that was like somebody met somebody else that knew me in real life. If that happened to me, it's so weird. That's so bizarre to
What?
me.
Like, was it at least like, oh, I met someone like in this? I don't know. Like, would it be like the equivalent of like someone I met? Then I was like, oh, I know you, or was it like, no, 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 like someone I'm in real life friends with met someone who knows me?
The comment was like they're like at a convention like in line and somebody was like it was like talking about like last Bible, which doesn't sound real. Like nobody would do that.
No,
But
yeah, it's some serial killer behavior right there.
yeah. And they're like, oh like yeah, like you watch Marsh's channel. Like that doesn't happen where I live in this like in my aura, in my bubble, like that can't happen. It won't happen. People live in a different
Yeah, it's
universe.
like one of my like biggest things I always joke about is there's no one worse at promoting the fact that I do this than me. Like I like at conventions even like unless people like bring things up, it'll always be like because like I've always like thought it was funny slash weird of like I've never understood why you'd want to be that guy that's like I am my channel before I am me. I'm like, no, my channel just happens to have recordings of me.
Yeah.
Like it like that like that's how I always kind of present it. It's like, yeah, like I do shit like in a bunch of various different ways and stuff. But like yeah, I'm not like, hey man, check out Mr. SMT Network guy over here. That's who me.
I yeah, I'm not like that either. And like ugh, I don't know. I wouldn't tell somebody like random like if I was walking around at a con, like I wouldn't tell people that I had a channel. It's just weird to me. Like I don't want to be that guy. So I don't know how it would work. I would probably sit at a table or something if that's what they do.
I'm just like wondering like what would we do?
Don't they put you up at a table and like have like your picture and you like sign like
Yeah, yeah, you'd have your headshot.
Yeah.
We'd have the Marsh headshot up there. We'd have the broken foot X-ray background too.
I would have to make shirts or something. Like if it was just me going, like there'd have to be a point to it.
I would feel so weird selling merch of me.
I mean, me too.
I want you to know,
Yeah.
like,
That's why I haven't done it.
like I always like ask voice actor friends of like outside of the fact that obviously money is needed for life, like I think legitimately I could get the most famous humanly possible, and I would still feel weird about the idea of ever making someone pay to like take a picture or like have me sign something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like if somebody handed me like 300 things, I'd probably just like I'd be too scared to say no. I'd be like, yeah, like okay. I don't want money for anything really.
I can't believe you signed that guy's Morgana Funko Pop. It's actually gone down in value now.
I would do it if you wanted me to. I don't think it. there's just like so much that people like don't tell you about that. Like if you're a guest at a convention, like I feel like there's a lot they don't explain to you. There's not a class on like how you're supposed to act.
Well, no, and that's what's always funny too, because it's like every actor or every person that gets invited is different. Like some people are just like, "Hey, I'm here. If you want to meet me, talk, like I'll talk." Like so, one of my like favorite things was when I finally got to meet Ryan for the first time. He did he's the voice of Kansu in Vengeance and also like Denji in Chainsaw Man. I remember when I finally met him in person for the first time, I was just watching him interact with people and I was like I was so mesmerized by like him at his booth, and it was just so funny because like he is as excited as everyone is to meet him.
Yeah.
Every person who goes up to that dude, he is so stoked. Like, he takes pictures of people. He's asking to take pictures. He's asking them to, like, pose. Because, like, he's so not used to all of this, and he likes this just as much as they all do, that, like, it's just as fun for him to, like, talk with somebody about something either related or not or whatever. And it's, like, those are the kind of ones that, like, I at least always like imagine like are gonna mean more to you than like back when fucking Stan Lee was alive. Like I have so much respect obviously for like a bunch of the work Stan Lee did. Like him as a person's like whatever, but like I remember you'd go to a convention with Stan Lee and it's like, hey, give this guy $300. This old guy's gonna sit in a chair. He's gonna take a picture, maybe say hi to you, and then you're gonna fuck off and leave. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, why would I care? I'll just Photoshop myself into a fucking picture of Stan Lee. Then.
It's so like artificial. Yeah.
Because, like, I think, like, that would kind of be one of those don't meet your hero moments. Like, my goal in life isn't to, like, meet Trevor Phillips from GTA 5 and then leave. My goal would be, like, oh my god, like, I think, like, the closest to, like, a dumb fan moment I had was, the year after Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, the voice actor for Arthur and... damn it, why am I forgetting his name? Arthur and John
Oh yeah.
from Red Dead 1 and 2. They were doing a panel at a convention I got invited to. Not like invited like the way we're talking about now, like just say, hey, would you like to go and like cover this invited?
Mm-hmm.
But I was sitting in on their panel, and I remember I went up to them after they were just like talking about what the process was like working on both of those games, and I went up to both of them and I was just like, hey, I have no questions for you. I don't want to sign anything. I just want to say. Like, because I like just beaten like Red Dead 2 a couple weeks back, and I was like, "Fuck, man, these guys are really great actors." I was like, I just wanted to tell them, like, man, like you guys just really killed it. I loved your performances and blah 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 and stuff for it. Just wanted to shake their hands, talk with them, and leave, and they were super cool with it. Didn't really care. Like not in the sense like they didn't care that I was there. It was like one of those things of like they're not like
Yeah.
well if I'm not gonna sign anything, why the fuck am I talking to you for 5 minutes?
Right.
It was just one of those things of like those would be nice because I feel like I think like kind of even going back to like Stan Lee as an example, like I think a good example would be like I think if you ran into Stan Lee back when he was alive and you said, hey, I'm such a huge fan of Spider-Man, thank you so much, I bet he would light up and be like, thank you so much, blah, 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 for, but like, in that convention setting, I feel like you almost kind of have to make it an automated process, because most people can't afford to just be there all day.
Yeah.
Like, the one weird kind of example, and like, I always give this dude a shout out, like, even if you don't like him or, like, the roles he plays, if you've ever been to a convention, have you ever been, Marsh, to any convention Christopher Sabat's at?
I don't think so.
So, like, do you know, like, so he's, like, from, like, he does a bunch of stuff, like, I think he's All Might from My Hero Academia, he's Vegeta from Dragon Ball, like, he does a bunch of, like, those type of guys.
This guy blocked me on Twitter.
Why did Christopher Sabat block you on Twitter?
Let's check.
Were you just like, man, you know who I
think
fucking hate? Piccolo.
It's either him or somebody else that looks like him. Well, somebody from Dragon Ball. It went into like NFTs,
Yeah, he's from Dragon Ball.
like said he was like stupid or something, and he blocked me.
Why are you the villain on Twitter? Can't you just like be nice on Twitter for once?
And this guy was being mean if it's the same person. He was like out here
I'm
calling people
so
broke and stuff. I was like, what are you talking about?
No shot, man. I need to learn about this now. Let's see if I can like find this out.
It's either
I'm gonna try and
him
look
or
this up on
like
Twitter.
somebody that looks exactly like him.
So let's see if I can do this. And then Chris Sabat.
Maybe I'm wrong. And
If it is, I don't even care. This is just funny now. I'm invested.
there's a Dragon Ball voice
All right.
actor that blocked me on Twitter.
Chris Sabat. All right, let's see if I can find anything on here. Should not be taking this long. While we're waiting, would you like to tell everyone how excited you are for your two favorite musicians to be collaborating soon?
Man, yeah, I couldn't figure it out by normal means because Lotus Juice has me blocked on Twitter. So,
I imagine anytime Lotus Juice tweets, you just go into your alt and you.
I don't even have an
That's
alt,
how you
but I figure it out. If I see like, what is it like? I don't remember what it says when somebody has you blocked, but if I see that and then people are saying like, I don't know, you can figure it out. You can figure out what it says. It's a crazy cloud.
I just need to figure out like who put you into a cockfight with everyone on Twitter. Like it's something about like, man, you get into the most random Twitter beefs that makes no sense
You know who
to
else
me.
has me blocked? Not to like get on a list. The guy who made the game Braid, John Blow.
Jonathan Blow,
Yeah.
I do not doubt that. Like, do you remember the line from Indie Game the movie?
Yeah.
Of like Jonathan Blow, and now that I've said this, now Jonathan Blow's gonna block me. But Jonathan, I'm a big fan of your games, but Jonathan Blow definitely might be one of those guys who doesn't have Google alerts on. He has a special, unique system on that. Anytime anyone on the internet mentions his name,
like shows
he
up.
finds a way to comment,
Yeah.
even if you don't at him. Like he'll find like he's the game developer version of Simply Dad. If you talk about Jonathan Blow, he'll find you.
I don't even remember what it was about, but he acts.
You were just like, you know what? I fucking
Yeah.
hate The Witness. I fucking hate The Witness. That's probably what you're saying.
He acts crazy online.
He's interesting. Like he's an interesting dude for real.
Yeah, like the documentary's cool. I don't even hate Braid, so whatever. I don't care.
That is so funny. Do you know what it was about?
I'd have to find it. I think it was like there's this video where it's like Soulja Boy or somebody or Snoop Dogg is playing Braid and they laughs at it.
Oh yeah.
It's really funny.
That's like he hates that video.
Yeah.
He hates that video so much. I mean, to be fair, if
funny,
if
though.
I saw like Soulja Boy like playing SMT and be like, "Yo, man, this shit's like Pokemon. This is fucking
I'd probably be like, what are you
some
talking
raw
about?
shit."
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything. I tried searching Chris Sabat's Twitter with you on there. I couldn't find. Maybe it's like. Maybe it was like the voice of Goku. The voice of Goku, I think, likes to get into fights with people online.
Who's the voice actor for? Okay, wait. What's this guy's name that we just talked about? Chris Sabat. The guy who has me
Chris
blocked
Sabat.
is Chuck Huber.
Dude, that's the voice of Hiei. That
Different,
dude. All right,
yeah.
so I remember why that happened. You remember he was going on a big tirade and I think like tweeting at LaRue too
Yeah.
about like NFTs are good. Like he blocked like half of like everyone I follow on
Yeah.
that one, and I was like, dude, can you just go back to being like cool people in anime and stop talking about NFTs?
It's not Chris Sabat. So if he sees this,
Thank God.
Sorry.
I was literally about to go on a tirade about how nice Chris Sabat is at conventions. You're like, yeah, that
They
fucking
blocked him.
asshole's got me blocked.
No, it's not him. They look a little bit similar, I guess.
Us white guys tend to have that problem.
Okay, so it's not him. Thank God.
No,
Vegeta.
I was gonna suggest Chuck, but I was like, I knew like LaRue had tweeted with him, but I wasn't sure if you ever had.
Yeah, I did.
It's kind of like to like date this podcast right now. It's like that like current thing going on with some fucking dude on Twitter. I forget his name. He's one of those people who's like you look at the stuff he puts out there and it's like, I don't know why this like guy has this many people following him and like he just has like the most milk toast like opinion tweets or like just dumb things put out. It was like he like quote retweeted like Bubble Tea's video
Yeah, that guy
about
sucks.
being like, I was like, dude, I saw the dude's Twitter, and like every time I see him, I'm like, who the fuck is this dude? Like, what the,
I don't
like,
know.
what the fuck, like, who are you?
It's like a
And it was just so funny because like he was like, dude, you're trying to like make his like you're trying to disregard this dude's whole video he put out by summing up, just be like, well, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
I was like, well, well then, if it doesn't matter, why do you care? Shut your mouth, then. Who
That
cares?
guy
You know
that
what
guy
I do
blocked
when
me
I see
too.
a video and I think it doesn't matter? I don't talk about it.
I lately I've been seeing this a lot where it's like somebody posts a thumbnail. Like I hate that. I think it's really bad to do that. It just like pisses me off. So I like
Now, do you mean like people like posting a thumbnail and like shitting on it,
yeah,
like
like a
just from the
thumbnail and then they
thumbnail?
shit on it. That pisses me off. Even if it's a bad video, it
I
pisses me off.
I will say this because these like to happen sometimes. If it's those cases of uh like the every frame a painting guys where they're like, we're gonna talk about this guy's video and it's 19 hours long. That's
That's
fine.
one
Yeah, you
thing,
can do
but just
those.
like a thumbnail and like you say something
No,
snarky,
yeah,
that's
because
a
like
dickhead move. Yeah.
I think like the last one that people really did that with was
Well, they did it with
fuck, why am
Nam
I forgetting
too.
everybody's name? Yes,
Yeah.
Nam's Persona 3 video. It was like the video wasn't even out, and it was just the thumbnail, and
People
people were
shitting on
just
it.
going off the
Yeah.
rail. Like literally, you and I could like do this as like almost like a parody at this point. Like you and I could post like completely contradictory like thumbnails, and I bet we would like just still get people being like you could post a thumbnail that just says Persona Q2 is Japanese gold, and it would just be like people being like, what the fuck, what
Probably.
is this nihilistic bullshit?
People get like fucking crazy. I don't think I've ever done it, so it's not like I'm being hypocritical. Like, I don't shit on thumbnails. I don't think it's right because it's like somebody I just I don't know. It's like an individual made it. I just feel like it's like, do you want that or do you want to see like a corporation like make some kind of content like that? I'd rather see like an individual's opinion, even if it's like stupid, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like it's like
Well, like it.
yeah,
And it's like even like other things of like even if you're the kind of person who's like, oh man, I do not care about this or like
I just
whatever,
wouldn't
like
post about it.
yeah, exactly. Like I've had like other ones of like there are times like where I think about like man, I should like post about videos that really catch me off guard that like I just really sink my teeth into. Like out of nowhere, I had a bug for like looking up stuff for Epic Mickey because that remake's coming out in like a month or two,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh hey yeah, I should like look up some old like interviews from Epic Mickey, and like some dude posted this like hour and a half long video talking about all the Epic Mickey games and like the effect it's kind of had over the last like 10 years, and I was like, oh, this is like crazy. It's like it's this video's got a ton of views, the guy's got like 1,000 subscribers, and it's one of those ones of like you would not hear many people talking about it, but it's like one of those ones of like I feel like I always like when I see people post like even if it's like a good example like Nom's video of I wish I had remembered what it was, but like I'll try and like click into it, but like I I will say this, and this is someone who like I've never said this to Nom himself, but like there are times where I see Nom's videos specifically, and I have to laugh at them for how like almost if not immediately contradictory, I know they will be eventually kind of funny. Like
Hmm.
one of my favorite ones I ever saw of his, I'm like pulling it up now, and it's like, where did it go? It's time to move on from Persona 5. It was like a video from like 9 months ago, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
dude,
remember that
if
one.
your whole persona online is you talk about this one game, and you're like, all right, guys, I've got to break up. Hey, you know what I do when I'm done playing a game? I just go on,
Don't
I
play
will, like I
again.
go on to the next one. I don't give a shit. I don't tell everybody. It's like, all right, it'd be like it'd be like Marsh, you need to do this when you're
SMT
about
is
to
like
change your
done.
profile
Yeah.
pics. No, not even that. Like just changing your profile pic. You're like, guys, I am out of my Danganronpa era. I'm officially now going to be entering my V3 Kokichi era. Prepare. I'm done with Makoto. Makoto is dead. I'm ready for my V3 fandom era.
Ugh. I should post a video like that, just Danganronpa like needs to move on. It's like what? Like what are you fucking talking about?
Shout out to Danganronpa for staying dead. I appreciate it. Thank you for being dead still, Danganronpa. They knew when to stop. They peaked at 3 and they're done.
Yeah, but it's like yeah, some of those thumbnails like I get it, but I just hate to see it. I just hate to see it.
No,
Yeah.
because it's like we all know, like it's that thing of it's low hanging fruit on both ends.
Yeah.
So like, let's pull this one up with it. How Persona 3 lost its identity, and whatever with it, and then because people were still very much so, still kind of in the fervor of, hey, this game just came out, we're all really positive on it. Why do you gotta fucking shit on it? Like,
Mm.
just to shit on it. It's like, hey, he's not making this just to shit on it. If he thinks the original is better, and there are people out there who think the original is better than Reload, it's like, they can make those opinions, you just have to also not be a complete shithead and immediately throw them under the bus. Like, trust me, no one, I mean, alright, I shouldn't say that, because there are some fucking sad individuals out there. Most people that we know would not make an hour and a half long video on an opinion they don't care about.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. He definitely cares
Like
about
if
it. Yeah.
you like if you made a video talking about Deep Strange Journey, but at the end of the day you were like it was a 2 hour long video about Deep Strange Journey comparing it to the original, but at the end of the day you were like, yeah, but I mean I don't really care about either. It'd be like, well, why the
Why'd you
fuck did you
do
make a
it?
2 hour video about this? Outside of the fact of making money.
The closest I ever came to that was probably another Bible, where I was like, this fucking sucked, but I still made a 2 hour video on it.
I mean,
It's a little different. It's a little different.
no, and I get that too for it, because it's that thing of like, I'm experiencing this and I want to go forward it versus I know that if I have this sort of mentality or mindset or opinion on a game, it will get me clicks. Kind of like a
Yeah.
similar thing like we'll get to when we talk about like Vengeance, I'm sure. There are people who, and it's at the same time a game comes out or is popular. There are people, the second something comes out or is announced, there's two mentalities. There's obviously more than two, but the ones you're going to see spread online the most are this: how quickly can I suck this game's dick,
Mm.
and how quickly can I say this game
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah, definitely. Especially on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, like Twitter is like, if you're not like if I'm not the biggest soldier of fucking Danganronpa V3, then I have no reason to have air in my ranks.
It's like some of those, like the one for Bubble Tea, they got like 40,000 likes. Do you know how he's handling it well? I would be so fucking angry. I would be really pissed if somebody did that to me.
No, like no, you mean like from it's 40,000 like from like that
That
quote tweet,
stupid quote
the quote
retweet,
tweet guy.
40,000 likes,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
people shitting on it that haven't watched it. In Bubble Tea, like, he didn't really say anything. Like, if it was, I would probably like, it wouldn't be good. I'd be
You know
upset.
what? I will also say that's another one as well. Like if those were comments in the video, like if you had a negative opinion after watching a video and it was in the comments, that would be one
But it's just
thing.
like off. You don't even get like the views
It's
or the
like
comments. Yeah.
you know they didn't click on it. You know they didn't even watch it. You know that they didn't even like be like, who is this person? They're like, hey, this person I follow is gonna rail on this opinion. Let's dogpile on him.
That's why I don't like those posts. It's just sort of like just hanging up this little thing for people to hate on for like no reason. I mean, there could be a reason, but a lot of people don't have a reason because they won't watch it. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
bad. I would be so mad. 40,000 likes. That's fucked up. They shouldn't do that.
guys, we're never gonna get Taco to follow us on Twitter now. Taco's never gonna follow us.
Taco. One of those
His name
people.
is Tahko.
Yeah, that guy. He blocked me.
Who's are you just like the fucking Harada of? No, not Harada. Are you the who's the dude from Platinum?
I think I know who you're talking about. I don't know his name though.
God
He
damn it.
blocks like everybody.
No, yeah, Hideki Kamiya. You're the
Yeah.
Hideki Kamiya of fucking like Atlus West.
I'm surprised Atlus still follows me.
I'm gonna be honest. I think at this point there's a lot of people because everyone who followed us during that phase, that those people
They're
don't work there
gone.
anymore.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like they're like, huh.
Came on it.
Well, it would probably look bad if we did a mass exodus of unfollowings, but also we never interact with any of these people. So,
They used to interact
because
with me.
I did for shits and giggles try messaging them on DMs and was very blatantly ignored. Was left unread.
Yeah, they used to like at least like a tweet or something if I'd respond to them, but I don't do anything anymore. So I was like, maybe one day they'll unfollow me.
What you need to do is just do a full. What you need to do is put your Persona 3 Reload Aegis Collector's Edition statue next to your completely shattered, destroyed foot shoe, the like really
And do
bad
Atlas
one,
faithful with it.
and then
Yeah,
just tag at Atlas West, say, "What do you think about that?"
they better respond.
If they don't like it, then they know they don't love you anymore.
They better. They didn't.
Dude, I remember like what was funny was like you used to be able to fuck around with Atlas on Twitter, and not
Yeah,
like in a mean way,
yeah.
like in a fun way. Like I remember like I think the only reason I got them to follow me in the first place was I was just fucking with them. Of like, I said, "All right, Atlas, I'll double or triple my giveaway if you comment on this tweet." And then they were like, "All right, you're gonna have to do double now." And then I was like, "All right, if you follow me, I'm gonna have to do this 10 times." And it was like, "All right, well there you go." Like all you had to do was just double dog them into following you, and that's all it was.
Yeah, I think they did it when I released my SMT1 video, which I think is crazy. I've probably talked about this before, but it's like they said they watched it. Like I don't know if they did or not, but the fact is like it's all about like emulating a game. It's just weird to me. So
Hmm.
they should release it. But now it's not the same person, so I can't ask them if they're going to. Ugh. You know who does interact with me though is Shop Atlas or Atlas Styles.
Excuse me, I think you mean
Atlas
Atlas
Styles, yeah.
Styles. By the way, RIP, because we joked about this earlier. The Atlas shop is dead. I don't think that's it's coming back.
Like their website, it's gone.
Yeah, if you go, so here, I'm gonna
You
go
can't go
here,
on Shop Atlas anymore.
shopat.com.
What?
I think it just gives you a. Yep, here you go. Shop Atlas is under construction. We'll be back soon.
That's fun.
And they have rebranded to Atlas Style, and if you notice, Atlas Style is now just a brands that we have officially licensed. We're sharing them for
They're
other
not
people.
making any more like in-house stuff.
I think they might, but it's like one of those things of like their margins were pretty bad. I think already, and with how much stuff was not selling out, like the amount of stuff that like actually sold out like before going on sale was pretty minor.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the skateboard, but no other stuff didn't either. I remember seeing like people
Dude, they had
somehow
like
have a
that
way to like,
sick. They had like that sick desk mat. Like they would
yeah,
do a lot of like
yeah.
cool desk mats, and like those were like getting down to like $9. I'm like, I don't even know if you're breaking even on it at this point.
Somehow people check and see like how much they have left. Like you can just see their whole stock of an item. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would do that actually. So the way you can do it is if it's ran through Shopify or Wix, you can put 9999999 till it maxes out, and then add to cart, and it'll be like, sorry, you can only add insert number that they have left in stock.
Yeah. I didn't know how to do that. Maybe if they bring this store back,
That's
I'll try
how.
that.
That's how. Back when, do you remember the Persona 5 Royal Once More edition?
Yeah.
That's how the first month that was out for pre-order, I kept just refreshing that constantly. And I was like, guys, Atlas, like Shop Atlas had like 25,000 units of this in stock. And it was like a month after, and I'm like, this might be a catastrophically bad overprinting job they just
Damn. Yeah,
did.
that's a lot.
And so that sold so bad that Sega then sold it to retailers to try and get them to sell it in stores. So like GameStop's got it, Amazon got it, and I think even Best Buy had a couple. And now it's clearanced so much. It was a thing that was I think MSRP'd for like 120 or 130. Right now you can buy it on Amazon or Woot for 40 to $60.
Maybe I'll pick one up. I don't need it, but
No, it's
it's
not.
not
It's
worth
not
it.
worth it. It's not worth it. It's literally like it's a cardboard treasure
Chest,
chest with
yeah.
a Akechi bag.
I don't want that. Yeah.
No.
I'd buy that hot sauce they came out with. I love that.
Oh, did you order that?
I didn't buy it yet, but I think it's really creative how it goes like Augie Lau. That's funny.
I am excited for it. We're currently trying to get one of the people actually behind it. I've been emailing them, trying to get them on the show just because of I love getting people who Atlas like license things through. Of just like I love picking their brains and just want to be like why do you do this? Why did you want to make three different like fire related spell
I
hot
love it.
sauces and
Yeah.
stuff like that I think is like really really funny. So hopefully we can get our first and probably final hot sauce review on the podcast.
Dude, I'd love to. And I know it wouldn't sell as much if they didn't have one that was just like Joker, but I wish they did like Augie Lau, Augie Dine, like Trisage. Like I wish they did the whole line. Like that'd be funny. And then did like Megidolon or something as like the hottest. It's,
Megadolon should just be a laxative. That
I,
should actually be what it is. It's just a fucking hot sauce laxative for your
I
ass.
would love if they kept doing like I don't know if the other spells would really work, like food stuff. That's neat.
Where
Creative.
did it go here? I'm pulling it
I'm
up.
looking at it. Apparently it's
Haha.
$90.
It was Jade. Because I was gonna feel bad if I forgot their name. It's Jade City Food. So if anyone's curious, my only thing, and this definitely would be a question as well, I'd have to ask. I need to justifiably understand how anyone is able to afford a $19 hot sauce bottle.
Yeah, the six pack's 90. Like that's a lot. I would
Maybe they're like 7 foot tall bottles. Maybe it's like a lifetime
maybe
supply.
it's like some like crazy good ingredients. Like one of these says Aguilau says strawberry habanero. Like that sounds different. I don't know. It'd have to be good.
Yeah, Aguilo, I would be the most interested in is, yeah, the strawberry habanero. The Joker one sounds really good. It's a Reaper, Ghost, and Scorpion pepper sauce.
It's probably really hot. Ghost pepper,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, which is kind of funny. I think the Joker one almost seems like the
It
most dangerous one
does,
out of all of
yeah.
them. Whereas like also, this is just a really tiny like dumb graphic designer thing in me. Like, and maybe I can ask before these get printed. The fact that it's just Carmen for Aguilo and Augidine, like, why did you not just do Carmen for Aguilo and then do Carmen's evolution
That
for
would have made
Augidine?
sense. Yeah.
Right? Like, you're gonna look at these two and be like, are these the same fucking hot sauce? Nope. All right. Okay.
They could do an SMT one and be like Pyro Jack and like all that. I'd love to see it. They should keep doing food. That
I
interests me.
really, I really wish SMT merch like did even remotely as well as like Persona merch, and even Persona merch like doesn't really ever like blow anyone's socks off in terms of anything crazy. Because like I was thinking about it of when Pinbox announced their SMT5 pins, they were like, all right, once these sell out, we've got like a whole bunch of other pin ideas for SMT demons we're going to do. And like run through the gamut and all these. And it was like, oh, they never, like, most of them never sold out. So they still have to like wait till the other ones are sold out till they can justify making more. And I'm like, man, this sucks because it's like, I thought it was a bummer too because it was like I thought their initial lineup was pretty solid. It was Nahabino, Amanazako, Fairy, Jack Frost, and Mothman. I was like, that's like a pretty solid like 5 pack. It's not like they fucking pick slime.
Yeah,
So it's like, man, yeah, like if these are going slow, like it's not. I don't think it's the pen that's the problem.
probably not. I'm not gonna buy pins anyway.
That I mean, certain ones like so, like something like that, like a pen box. Like I appreciate that in the sense of it knows that it's not a pen you're gonna fucking put on your lanyard. Most likely,
Right?
it's meant to be this thing that you display as kind of like a Funko Pop of it. Although, like, kind of even then, like going back to like Funko Pops, like think about it like this: Persona 5 is so stupidly popular. Not even Persona 5 was able to actually get all. Like, I think Persona 5 got what, like 5 or 6 Funko Pops.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even get past Makoto. They didn't get Futaba. They didn't get Haru.
No,
They didn't even
people
get
don't like
Goro.
Funko Pops, right? I don't know.
Well, Funko Pops are a weird one. Of like, as for as many haters as Funko Pops has, and goddamn, they have a lot of them. Funko Pops are still insanely popular. Like literally tomorrow, Marsh. Just to let you know, and how much of a complete pushover I am. I will be going to my local mall at 9 in the morning to wait in line at a box lunch to try and get a Funko Pop.
Oh, box lunch. I mean, I have a couple. I have the Monokuma one. It's fine. And I have a Gudetama one, which is also fine.
Well, but again, like those all look good because they look like their original character.
Yeah.
When they look like the normal Funko Pop, they're like, nope, no thanks. Like when I look at Joker, or like seriously, I always joke about it. The fucking Morgana Pop looks so goddamn bad. That fucking pop gives me goddamn nightmare fuel.
Morgana Funko Pop. Let me look it up. I've probably seen it, but I don't really remember.
It was like a nom flashback. You like forgot that you've seen it.
Oh, there's eyes. Yikes. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
By the way, Funko Pops, I know you will never listen to this podcast, but I do want you to know, just give Spike Chunsoft the money, or make them pay the money, whatever, who has to pay to. Just give us the rest of the Monokuma kids. Or at the very least, give us Monami. I don't know why you only did Monokuma. Like, give us the rest of the
Yeah,
bears.
I'd buy them. I don't hate every Funko Pop, but it's like you said, like if the character looks like
It
it has
ha
to look like a character.
it has to, yeah, it has to be like a specific style that works.
Yeah,
Like, listen, I fucking love the Golden Girls. I don't
I don't
fucking
want
need
that.
Blanche
Yeah,
as a Funko Pop.
those are silly, but
That said, I think if you made a dumb enough looking Nahabino, I would probably buy a Nahabino Funko Pop.
yeah, yeah. Or like
Like, specifically, if it had the stupidly long hair, I
they
might
could
have
do
to do
Jack
it.
Frost and probably look fine.
Jack Frost would be baller.
Yeah.
Jack Frost would be really, really easy. Hey, Marsh, do you remember like 9 years ago when I said, hey, speaking of news, and then I started talking about San Diego Comic Con, and then 9 years later that we got back
Yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah.
There was news about Comic Con.
Okay,
Let's go
let's hear
back
it.
to
Yeah.
it. Everyone's favorite company, Limited Run Games, announced this week. Did you hear
Oh,
about
the
this?
foils, right?
The
foils.
That is a good way
Yeah.
to. Hey, famous pre-ordered copies of Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden from Limited Run, which have still not shipped out their collector's editions. Almost 10 months later now. At this point, we're almost to
It's been a
12.
minute.
It's been a long, expensive bit. They announced this week that at Comic-Con they will be selling not only an exclusive variant, but a numbered variant. So it has like a little Comic-Con sticker, and they're apparently individually numbered as well. We don't know how many, which I maybe will make me feel better about it. Here's the part where it's like extra yucky for multiple reasons. So I'm actually like a sicko. I love cover variants. I love anything that's like different cover art, using like new things with it. Like I love tiny differences and things like that for games that I love. Like it's one of those things like I'm a total sucker for. And there's a lot of games I bought from Limited Run multiple times just for the different covers. I'm going to just say full stop right now. I hate this. I hate this, and I am also probably going to try and buy a copy. So, like I said, they'll be selling copies of Persona 3 Portable and P4G at Comic-Con, and the exclusive versions are the exact same cover art,
But it's foil.
but printed on foil
Yeah,
paper.
yeah, yeah.
Which, fun fact, unless maybe they do a really special job with the foil printing on this, will just mean that it looks shiny and darker. Like it's not like they're like going to look better in foil. They're just going to be shinier. Here's the problem. They're doing it on every platform they printed the game on. To my knowledge, this might actually be their only exclusive convention version of an Xbox game. So if you're a sicko like me, that's 6 copies of a game now that you have to find an exclusive cover for.
I don't like. Why would they do it? Like, I saw somebody else say this. Like, why would they do it at Comic Con or whatever? Like, it's not the right audience, right? Not really.
Nope, it is the perfect audience. So another one of my problems I hate about with Comic-Con, Comic-Con is exclusive scalper con.
Okay, it's the
Every
perfect
booth
audience.
it's not an official rule, but it is heavily told that if you're a vendor at Comic-Con, which by the way is like $100,000 plus like to get booths and stuff, the whole point of Comic-Con is to have an exclusive. The whole point of Comic-Con is to go to a booth, wait in line all day, and get the exclusive merch drop. And if you don't get it that day, don't worry, come back the next 3. They might be there this time. And that's the whole thing for it, because the whole thing is, it's supposed to be like, this is for the true die-hard fans. Just kidding, it's for eBay. We all know it's for
Yeah.
eBay. Yes, fans are going to this, but like, hey, you know what would be nice if you gave us more than a fucking week's notice for a convention that's been sold out and is halfway across the fucking country. So it's like that thing of like, yeah, of course everyone's going to be pissed about it. Like, they could have announced this 2 years from now and people would still hate this. The problem, though, leads into the fact that they did this, and most people still don't have this game.
Right. They haven't even done their first thing yet.
Most people haven't even gotten their copies of everything. Unless you only ordered a copy of just the standard game, you do not have a copy. And then the worst part about it is, this is, again, like, because this is a release that if you didn't pre-order through them, like Marsh, you're going to hate this. So here, we were talking about Xbox prices. I'm going to do this right now. How much do you think P3P costs on Xbox right now?
Oh man. My first thought is like nobody'd even care about it, but that's probably not right. So maybe like 120.
But then at the same time, because then no one
Yeah.
cares, there are
So
less
like
copies.
120 maybe.
No, it is the cheapest. It's at actually it might be tied with Switch, but you can buy a copy for about $70 right now for P3P.
Okay. I mean it's pretty high, but I guess if you really want it, it's not that bad.
I mean, it is literally twice the
Yeah.
price, and it has nothing else in there. But yes, and remember, this is a downloadable $20 game.
Yeah, there's that.
Persona 4 Golden, same thing, $70. Looks like for PlayStation, it's around yeah, 70 to 80 to $90 for about all three of them, PlayStation, Xbox, or Switch right now. And like they printed a metric fuck ton of most of these. Xbox is definitely the lowest, but kind of like you said, the collector market there is a way different beast. Switch has the most copies produced, but I don't think people are like you. If you wanted that on Switch, it won't be that much of a pain in the butt for you to get. The one that like most people didn't realize was gonna bite them in the ass was PlayStation, because there was a lot of people that just kind of thought, oh, this will happen eventually through Sega, and now as they're realizing that this limited run version is the only way to get these physically,
Mhm.
are like, oh shit, well, I like having all of my games on one hardware system family. PlayStation has had that long running history with Persona, so now people kind of feel like they got like screwed that way.
It definitely makes sense. I mean, it's getting to a point where like I feel like you could get a PS2 and the original game for like less than $80. That's what I, yeah.
100%. You could probably like for the price of $100, I bet you could buy a PS2 and at least a copy of Persona 3 or 4.
Yeah, because the originals don't even cost that much. So if you're not like a crazy collector, I don't know why you go for it. I'm not, so I'm not gonna buy them. But I get it if you
I
are.
bought it mostly out of the hey, I would like it for the collection. Obviously, if I pre-ordered it through limited run, it wasn't going to cost me an arm and a leg more. I've been through this process. I've known what that's like. But there are so many people, like even now with the Comic-Con news coming out, of people looking at these copies, being like, "Oh, whoa, that's cool. How do I get a regular copy?"
Hmm.
Oh, well, get in a time machine, take two steps back, and fuck your own face, and then then you can get a copy. That'll
Yeah,
help.
it's a pain. Yeah.
So that sucks because like I feel like obviously like especially the ways like physical games are now, like you can't just say, what do you mean you should just print copies of this forever? Like that's how you get to like Soul Hackers 2. Like Soul Hackers 2, Sega literally is just giving copies away. They're
Mm.
like it's like I see it constantly on sale for like $5 or $10.
I'm dumb for still not having that game.
Dude, it's so cheap. How do you not? How you know what it is? It's because you didn't get Soul Hackers on 3DS. So now you're being spiteful and
Yeah.
you won't buy the sequel.
I actually want a copy of it. Maybe I'll go and check. I got a credit card recently. Like I didn't have
It's
my own
really
credit
cheap, dude.
card.
Like seriously, it's like $10. Like what platform would you want it on?
PS4, which I think you said was rare, right?
Oh God, no. PS4 is actually the most common version. You could probably get a PS4 copy for like under 10
Oh,
bucks.
that's the one I'd get. I'd totally pick that up. I should buy it. There's no reason not to. I just
It's a hard
haven't.
economy, man. Times are tough. Medical bills are
The medical bills, and I
skyrocketing.
found
How many copies of Soul Hackers 2 will this ambulance cost me?
if it's like $5, probably like 50,000, like their whole stock. I'll trade them.
So, God, what was it? So yeah, the Comic Con stuff got announced. Like I said, we don't know numbers of how many are going to be there. For anyone who doesn't want to, hopefully pay the scalper's fee of eBay.com. Limited run most likely normally never sells out of convention exclusives. Like I don't know if they've actually ever had an exclusive convention cover sell out first trip. Most of the time, they will take them to their store in North Carolina. They'll sell leftovers there, and then they'll also do leftover sales online. But they usually make you wait till like a holiday, like Black Friday or New Year's,
Uh,
to do like a blowout sale. That's like kind of one of the other things that sucks with limited run is they have a huge backlog of product. They just refuse to sell them unless it's an event because FOMO, I guess. Like, literally, they have thousands of items in backlogs from, like, years and years and years of things that, like, they could sell. They just choose not to because they think it makes them look like it would look bad if they had games from 2 years ago still in stock.
So far, they haven't like really released anything I really want. But the other day I was thinking about it and I was like, this is stupid. What if they took like Ao Oni or something and put it on a disc? I'd buy it. Like an RPG Maker game. That's
Hold on, which game?
Ao Oni, like the purple monster.
Oh, I mean, like, dude, they do a lot of weird
They
stuff.
did like Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. They could do Ao Oni.
Definitive edition.
Or like Yume Nikki or something. That'd be sick. I'd buy it.
They did multiple re-releases of Glover as well for you. I was surprised that you were able to resist them doing
Wait, they did?
Glover Collector's
They
Edition.
did Glover?
Yeah.
They did Glover on Switch? Are you serious?
No. Like Glover, they did Glover Repro versions on 64.
Oh.
I think PC too.
I think the other day I got Glover back. Yeah, I did. I got Glover back. The same copy as when I was a kid.
From who?
It's been in my grandpa's like fucking like attic for like 10 years. I got it back.
So you missed out on this 2 years ago, July 2022. You could have bought a $60 repro gray cart version of Glover. You could have bought an $89 collector's edition that came with a keychain, poster, Pog,
Look
and
at this
CD.
thing. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
A $24 Glover plush, and a lifetime of regret.
The soundtrack's actually really good. Like the CD's probably great. Glover has a good soundtrack.
Glover does have a good soundtrack, but if you want to look
And
me in
say
the eye
$90.
and lie to me and say that you pay $90 for the Glover soundtrack, we're gonna have a much longer conversation.
I wouldn't. I didn't even know they did this.
So Limited Run does a lot of repros, and I've always felt yucky about them because it's like they're always official. They're always through whoever owns the license to it. But my thing is like even if it works on hardware, they do a lot of repros for games that aren't rare.
Yeah.
Like Glover,
Glover's
guys.
not rare.
Breaking news: Glover is not expensive. It's not Ogre Battle 64. It's fucking
I don't
Glover.
even know why you'd buy the repro because you can go on eBay and they have Glover everywhere. I guess you want like a new one? Like, I don't know.
Brand new.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Hope there's a patch on there for me.
There has to be something. Like they give you a box at least. I don't know.
It is funny though that they did. I wonder if this didn't sell very well because remember they patched. Not they patched it. They ported to Switch, Xbox, and PS4 Glover. Like you can play native Glover on modern consoles.
I remember that now. I think it's on Steam. Yeah, it's not a good port as far as I'm aware.
No. The company who owns the rights to Glover's Pico Entertainment does like a lot of really shitty ports.
Yeah, which sucks because I like Glover. I'm not gonna buy it.
I found a copy of Glover used for $5 on Facebook Marketplace. So if you're dying for Glover, the internet's ready to help you. It's Soul Hackers 2 and Glover right back to back.
I don't get it. Like $60 when they're everywhere. It's like reprinting.
Yeah, but like Marsh, you don't
get
get it. It's their name on the
limited run games and Glover.
And that's the funny thing too, because like you need to know this. Like Limited Run has some games that are like legitimately crazy expensive and rare, like justifiably, like official console versions of things that are super expensive. But also like this is a game that's a bargain bin meme game that they just put their name on a box. Like this will never cost more than the regular version.
Like never, unless somebody makes like a really good video on it and they buy them all.
Did you know that in the Limited Run Games reproduction of Glover 64, you can actually see an entire outline drawing of a man's penis on this screen frame of this shot?
There could be some kind of secret in there. It would have to be something like that.
It would be if you 100% Glover from Limited Run Games, you actually get a teaser trailer for Glover 2.
Imagine that. Glover 2. The world couldn't handle it.
No, if you buy the collector's edition of Glover from Limited Run Games, you actually get the Glover skin in Fortnite exclusively.
I'd probably buy it. Play as Glover? Okay.
Could you imagine the Glover skin in Fortnite? I'm just imagining it's just a man inside Glover's glove. Like, he's still running around. He's, like, wearing it like a skin
Yeah,
suit.
it's like huge. Yeah. Man. I mean, they've done weird stuff on there. They've done some pretty out there stuff.
Oh, no, there's some... I've seen you play in the Family Guy chicken suit. I've seen some things.
They have some kind of chicken character on there that's like a mascot from like Mexican TV or something. Like something I've never even heard of.
No, dude,
Yeah.
there's some deep cuts. There's some deep cuts on there.
Ugh. I'm looking at their site right
So,
now.
safe to say, you're probably not going to be losing your sleep over Persona 3 and Persona 4 variant covers.
No, probably not. Like I don't know. It's not super interesting to me because I don't even really like portable that much. It's okay. I don't know.
I'm trying to like you here. I'm
You're trying
trying to
so
like
hard
you,
to like.
Marsh.
I don't know. I just don't buy that
Uh,
stuff. Not usually.
no, and I mean, and I get it. Well, like, but like another couple of things that lead into it though. That like again, it just seems like such a missed slam dunk. It's like why, like going back to DDS, why not just use one of the thousands of amazing art pieces and make a new cover art? And I almost wonder if, because like the funny thing with this is limited run actually isn't able to sell this game to Japanese people.
Oh, really?
Like it was one of those things of like you could order it from them and get it shipped to you, but it was one of those things of Atlus Japan never promoted this once.
Oh,
Like they officially licensed it, like they did it, they made their money from it, but like there was always a weird way of how it was treated, like this release, like they weren't proud of it, you know?
yeah. That makes sense.
Like they didn't tweet about it more than like 2 or 3 times. They barely ever retweeted it. They liked it a couple of times on Atlas West pages, but they never promoted it very much during the pre-order periods. And every time it's always come up, people were always kind of like, "Hey, multi-million-dollar Sega Corporation, you know how you publish all of these other games? Any reason at all you want to tell us why you didn't want to publish your 2 biggest selling Persona games this year? No, no, no.
Yeah,
Okay."
it's weird that they didn't do it. That's probably why they don't talk about it. Like maybe they wish they did. I don't know.
I still think there's a tiny part of me that thinks once Limited Run has shipped and sold everything, I think there's still a chance that they might. Like Limited Run has said that they have been told through Sega that they have no current plans at all. But I've also been told by people who used to work at the company that there were plans and that things apparently logistically higher ups thought that it wasn't going to make sense, which again I think is completely preposterous because fucking Persona 3 and Persona
Yeah,
4 Portable, I mean Persona 3 and 4 are some of the best selling games of
makes
that
no
whole
sense at
series.
all to say that. Yeah. Well, maybe they will do it
And I
someday.
think like
Who knows?
yeah, like I think legitimately like once the final shipments for everything with limited run come out, do not be shocked if like 3 months later you see Atlas Japan do a release that's because I think like you got to think about it, they're going to have so many people giving ironically limited run more shit than Atlas, even though this is more of an Atlas thing because they approved it. You know that if they sold it, if Atlas had sold it themselves, they would have sold both games for $40,
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
not both games for $70 because they were $35 a copy.
Right, right. It'd be funny if they just came out and did another version of it. And then it would be so limited run, like what's the point?
And then just like crash the entire economy of it. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I don't mind. I like when things like that happen. Like I like when games that used to be super rare and obscure are like overprinted into oblivion. Like I remember when Nintendo originally did a reprint of Devil's Third. I was like, "Fuck yeah, man!"
hmm
Like I loved that game was like easy to find for a while.
I know that one was pretty expensive for a bit.
It still is. Like now, a lot of the Wii U stuff jumped back up, but just because like they haven't printed Wii U stuff in so long. But yeah, it's. I've got mixed feelings. Obviously, I'm a sicko, and I'm gonna try and get it. But like my thing with it is like there's 2 people I know going to Comic Con. If they can get it for me at normal market price, sure, I will gladly pay the money for it. Like I don't like it, but it's a weird piece of Atlas history I would like to own.
Yeah, no, I get it.
At the same at the same time, if you think it's stupid and you hate it, you are in the right, buddy. I'm not going to be saying
No, I
otherwise.
understand if you can get it, why not? But I guess it's not something I would prefer to keep doing. Even though I'm not into collector stuff, like it just seems weird to do that. Like it's for scalpers, like you
Well, like
said.
I think there's times it would make sense. Like there's things that would, like I said, I legitimately think even if it was like only 1,000 or 2,000 copies, I think even the fact that it's just a reuse of the same art just kind of goes back into Okay, we're just kind of doing this to make more money. And
Yeah,
another thing that makes me think like Atlus won't let them do new art is that's why it's the foil cover. It's because they only have approval for that art. So they can't do anything else unless Atlus approves it. And if Atlus is already like, we'll just do our own once you guys are done, they're not going to give them, oh, hey, here's this sick cover art from like the European version. Yeah, use that.
that'd be at least something different. But yeah, foil is kind of boring. I don't care. That's all they can do.
Foil can look cool on covers. Like I think like when it's like being used in like certain examples, like my edge cases I go because there are not many games that use foil on a cover. But the ones that do, it is really like, it either makes it look really cool or really boring. It just depends on how you use it. Because the way it prints is if you're using a lot of dark colors, and especially like Persona 3 Portable's cover, white and dark blue do not lead to a fun-looking foil cover.
I don't think I have any games that are. I might have one foil game, and it's like I think like Tekken like 6 or something, like something weird. I don't have any foil games.
Oh no, yeah, I think Tekken, yeah, has like a foil like outer sleeve.
Yeah, something like that. I know what you mean though. It can look weird.
Hey, you know what? You know what would be a really sick-looking foil cover?
No, what? Vengeance.
Shin Megami Tensei V. Wouldn't that be a great thing to talk about?
Yeah, it would be a cool foil cover.
You would think the way that we fucking go on tangents here is if I've just not talked to you in like 9,000 years. Like, like imagine on an actual busy news week where we had to go through shit. We would just be like, this is a 19-hour long show.
Yeah, it would be a long one, but I don't know. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Maybe more than we thought. The foils are interesting. Like
the $7 copies of Soul Hackers
That's
2.
interesting,
I'm losing sleep. Marsh, Vengeance has been out a month. We're not going to spoil anything major, at least, that hasn't been like shown in trailers. But I am disgustingly close to beating it.
okay, yeah.
Like upsettingly close to beating it. But
yet?
no, a fake fan. Well, ironically, actually, compared to the rate of like how long it took me to beat Reload and Tactica, I'm actually going at a really good pace.
Okay, yeah.
Reload fucking took me forever to beat. I don't know why.
I still haven't finished that one, so.
Well, remember we talked about this when you were last on the show. Is like I don't want to rush it. Like especially because the DLC was like the thing of like I wanted to like soak it in because it had been so long. Whereas like SMT5, even with the Vengeance, right? It's like it's a used commodity. You know what you're getting with SMT5.
Yeah, definitely. I still haven't finished Reload. I need to go back to it, but I beat Vengeance fairly quickly, like the first couple weeks, which is kind of rare for me. I don't usually do that, but I had fun with it. It's better than before.
Well, so we've kind of been doing like, especially depending on the guests we've had the last couple of weeks, sort of like check-ins and discussions with it as it's been going on. So for anyone out there who doesn't remember, what was your kind of like 120 character review summary of the original vanilla SMT5, and where are you playing Vengeance, or where did you play it? Like how much of it did you play, and like stuff like that?
Well, my original review, I guess it basically boils down to like, I thought the original was a fine game. I was let down a lot by like the world building and the story, which I think some people were, a good amount of people were. Combat.
What, there was a story?
Yeah. Like conceptually it's really cool, but the characters, the pacing is really sloppy. But then the combat was really fun. And then I also didn't prefer the exploration, and I'll talk about that a bit and how this game improves it. But yeah, the original game, I don't know, people don't like out of 10, but I gave it like a 6 out of 10. I thought it was like pretty decent.
Listen, Marsh, people say they don't like the out of 10s until you don't do them, and then they say, well, what are you going to review it out of 10?
Well, so this next one that I'm writing, I thought about doing like stars like on backlog, but I'm going to do out of 10 again. I'm going to do out of 10. So yeah, Vengeance, I'm playing on PC. It's really good. It's a really good place to play it. It looks great.
How's it running on your rig? Is it like is it got like 480i, 480p? What are we looking at settings wise?
It's like the highest. I don't think, does it have settings? I don't think it does.
It does.
Does it?
It does.
Graphics settings.
Yeah, it has graphic settings. Yes, as dynamic graphics resolution scaling.
Really? Well, I have everything
Yeah.
maxed out. It looks really good.
I love the fact, by the way, that like fucking Marsh over here played this game 3 years ago on a fucking potato of a Switch Lite, and now go into a PC and be like, oh yeah, it's where the big boys are playing.
Well, so like when I was first playing it, I streamed like when I first started the game, and it was like it was lagging, and I figured it out. And it was OBS. It was like ruining it. So like it runs flawlessly, and it runs really good. Like way better than the Switch. There's no performance dips at all. Everything looks great. I don't know how far you want me to go into like my Vengeance review, but I'm playing it on PC, and I highly recommend it. So I can.
It's a. I feel like this is probably the smoothest Atlus PC port I've heard of in a long time. Because even Reload had a couple of weird, like hiccups at launch, whereas like this has been really smooth, which is funny because Unreal Engine 4 has a fucking awful history of PC ports. Like, Unreal Engine 4 is a great engine, but just something about launching PC ports, like, somehow Unreal Engine 4 games always end up looking and running like trash on PC at launch, whether it be due to, like, streamlining like resolution or like pop-in or like filtering like shaders and stuff. Like, Unreal is a really good engine. I just don't know why the fuck so many PC ports of UE4 games usually end up having to like eat ass the whole, like basically buying it the first week. Like it's like, all right, everybody, thanks for being the paid beta tester.
Yeah, no, it runs great. I was surprised at how much better it looked and like felt. Like there's when you first start and you're in dot and you can see like what caught me off guard was like your character's hair. Like it looks very like voluminous and like it looked crazy. I don't know how to explain it. It's like the Switch Lite was so like so much worse.
Dude, I think the fact that you weren't playing it on OLED definitely does a disservice because
Yeah.
like looking on that, like because like even playing on the Switch OLED, like the game looks really good even on Switch.
It didn't look great on mine, but you know, it wasn't an OLED.
Well, yeah, you're fucking your McDonald's Happy
I got
Meal toy
that
over
cheap
here.
Switch Lite, yeah. It looks great. I keep saying that, but you know, I was actually really surprised when I first turned it on to see like how it was actually like I guess intended to
Wait,
look.
did you just think it was like gonna look like shit? Like what? What'd you think?
I don't. I just like I only have like my original memory of the game to go off of. So like I was just surprised at like
Well, it's just
how good the game actually can look and like how much detail there actually
it's
is.
funny. It's funny you say that because like I remember I was really impressed at how good I thought 5 looked for a Switch game, and so like I think it only makes sense when you think about it that to then be like, hey, they've had 3 years or more to fine craft this on multiple platforms now,
Yeah,
and ranging like from Switch, Xbox One, Series X, PC, PS4, PS5. Like there's a lot of different like kind of ways you can play this game now to the point where it's like, yeah, you would kind of hope that
yeah.
that's
I didn't think it would look bad. It's just like with the better frame rate and actually playing it on like a screen that's not like 1 inch wide. Like it felt like a whole different game to me because I didn't play it
no,
on a
for
TV
sure.
before. So
Well, and I mean also legitimately like some games I think have a positive and a negative, not a negative, but I think games changing from their native default resolution and frame rate, the effects can be different. I remember looking at Persona 5 going from 30 FPS to 60 finally. I was like, this doesn't look good. This like game was so finely crafted and tuned to 30 FPS
right.
that every time I look at P5 running at 60, it like looks like you have a double speed mod on. Like it doesn't look natural.
Yeah, but this one looks great.
It looks yeah, and what's is funny too, because like you mentioned, like Nahabino's hair, it's like one of those things of like, okay, is like Nahabino just gonna look like their hair's having a spaz attack the whole time? And it's like, no, like it looks great. Like, ironically, the only kind of weird Switch detail I always joke about missing is like, you remember like how shimmery and like how like the big chunky textures on the sand of Dot would be. It's kind of funny now that like they don't need those like big ugly gross shimmering textures on the Switch. It's like, oh yeah, the sand just kind of looks like sand now. It doesn't look like shiny magical sand anymore.
There's only like 2 things that carry over from the Switch version. It's like from a distance, like animations like play slow, and the Switch did that too. And somebody told me that's like I don't know, like a trick to like save processing or something. I don't know, but
Uh huh. Yeah. So like basically running half or even quarter or eighth speed animations is a great way of freeing up memories and stuff for it. Because there'd be so many times, especially like, do you remember that large open area when you first get to Dot, right before you go to the, I think it's the. Oh, it's the Diet Building. Yeah, before you get to the Diet Building for the Nuwa fight, it's
very
so funny.
familiar. Yeah,
Of like, there's that big wide open area where there's like 17 different like there's demon horses running around. There's like the one-legged guy hopping everywhere,
yeah.
and it's like, bro, spawn less demons here. Like, what do you do? I remember like that area always chugged, and I'm like, dude, you designed this. Like, why did you do this?
It doesn't do it anymore. And then the other thing is like some of the cutscenes are still the original resolution, but there's a mod and you can like actually make them like 4K or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a weird one that's not there with like PS5, but like that's been a thing that happens with other games of like original resolution cutscenes for other things, but 4K is there, but it's not available unless you like mod it in. So like on console, at least on PS5 and stuff, like yeah, the 4K cutscenes are there, but yeah, for whatever reason PC you have to like basically manually enable them.
It's pretty weird, but that's the only two complaints I have like graphically. Like it's really good. Like even like the particle effects and stuff like that. I just didn't notice it on the Switch Lite. Like I wouldn't notice it. So I was impressed.
So I assume did you start with Canon of Vengeance, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't intend to play the original route again, but maybe I'll spin back through it. But I've only played Can of Vengeance.
I will say, especially due to the fact that now that I know New Game Plus rolls over from one to the other, whether it be one path or the other, I'm really tempted just to kind of run through it because the more I get into Vengeance, I'm so kind of shocked at how different it is while also not at the same time. It's really weird. Like there are so many like dramatically different things in this game with Vengeance to the point where I'm kind of like, if you haven't played SMT5, I almost don't recommend you play Vengeance. Like, it's the better route, but, like, I genuinely need to, like, play through Creation again and remind myself, I'm like, would you even know who the fuck the Council of Bethel is?
I don't
Because,
think
like,
you
it
would.
just doesn't go over it.
I didn't really talk about that in
Like,
my review, but you're right. Like there's a lot of things they like glance over. Like the Demon King, they mentioned that. It's like who's that?
they keep fucking mentioning the Demon King, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, are we gonna go and fucking fight this dude? No, all right. It's done. They won. So yeah, moral of the story, everybody: the fucking giant fire god Sutor and the Demon King. Yeah, you didn't need to be there. Apparently, fucking Abdiel had it covered, so like they're fine. We just fucking we did nothing. We were a waste of time.
I might address that, but I sort of get to this point in my review where I talk about like in Royal, new content is part of the game. In Redux, the new content is part of the game. But then this is like two different games on the same engine.
Well, it's weird. It's two separate half games.
Yeah.
They're both the same first half. It's just their second half is different. It's just one has a playable Poochie and the other Poochie isn't there.
I just think it's weird. It's like they couldn't I think it would have been I'll just say like what I would imagined they would have done is like the original story wasn't like I don't think it was executed very well. So they would fill in the blanks, but they don't do that. They leave it and they're like here's a new one. We're just taking it from the top. The first half is the same pretty much, but then it changes. I think that's weird. I don't know if it's bad, but I think it's weird because they don't really fix anything.
Yeah,
They just give you another one.
I also I haven't really cemented how I feel about it. It's kind of like I like both. Both are very different. Both are complementary, but I don't think this is a good way to tell one or even both stories.
Yeah, I would have preferred if they like I don't know if I should say preferred. I think it would have made more sense if it was all just like one thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I genuinely think, and I'm sure I will feel this way as well once I kind of get to the end all the way, there was a way to just make one path.
That's what I think.
And then,
Yeah.
hey guys, you know those choices you put in all your games that don't actually affect shit? What if actually your choices just narratively led to this, instead of I had to pick, does girl hand leave or does girl hand stay?
Yeah.
So it's like that funny thing of like, there's a way that I think you could have ebbed and flowed, like even like the new areas of just being like, all right, are you going to go with Koshimizu or are you going to go with Bethel, Japan? Are you going to go to fight the Demon King or are you going to go to Shinjuku? Like having those moments, whether you pick them or not, I think that would make more sense than having the two paths, especially because the two paths aren't the same experience even from a gameplay wise. Like it's weird aspects like, okay, the Magatsui rails and the level designs are the same on all of them. So those level design changes are like, because I think like it'd be weird if one was there and the other's not, but then you get to other things like, oh, but there's no playable party members.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like if you're playing Royal and you had to pick like I don't know, like play the entire original game or play the entire original game plus Royal, but they're on the same disc. Like why not just put them together? The original, like the canon of creation, I think it could have used more scenes, like more, I don't know, more like when they have like that big demon meeting, they could have had more stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think there's a lot of interesting things of, and this definitely came from when they announced it as well. Of I was really hoping the quality of life changes. They're thankfully not exclusive to Vengeance, but it's almost hard not to wish that creation got that same love. Of like, yes, there's a lot of nice quality of life changes here from the gameplay that both get to enjoy,
Mhm.
but like then when you kind of get to those other aspects like the characters and the added things to it, you just sort of get to a point where it's like, okay, I either just needed to experience both of these or have this explained to me, otherwise I would be genuinely shocked if someone had any semblance of who Koshimizu is in Path of Vengeance. Like if you don't know who that is already, it's like who is he? Why is he with Miyazu? What is going on? Okay, cool, whatever. Like going on like from there and stuff with it. Because like even with the little that you got in Canon of Creation, it was at least enough that by the time you got to his side quest, you understood where he was coming from with that character, versus skipping that whole meeting and going with the different nations. It just then leads to him just being this random green demon god out of nowhere.
Yeah, it just feels a little, maybe a little messy because they're not quite like, I don't consider, they're not quite like two halves of the story. It's sort of just like two different stories that have like certain details that would be nice to know in each one. Like, because like the first two maps, like the same thing, but then the third one changes. I don't know. It just feels like they're not quite companion pieces. It's like two slightly different story-wise, I guess, versions of the game. I guess, I don't know. Not slightly. It's hard to explain. Like the first 8 hours, yes, slightly, but then after that, much different. It's just different. I've never seen anything like it.
I'd be curious how you'd feel about this. So this was the comparison I made a week ago, and I don't mean that like I can see how this would come across as possibly like a negative comparison, but I don't feel it at all. Do you know what like a total conversion mod is?
Yeah, yeah.
Vengeance feels
Total
like
conversion
Atlus
mode.
paid
Yeah,
someone to make a total
no,
conversion
for sure.
mod.
It's just bizarre. I don't know. Like I don't dislike it.
Because
It's
it
just
like
weird.
it's not like it's a sequel. It's not because like another thing that kind of got brought up last point that like I don't think this conversation comes up enough. When I see people saying like this is the apocalypse of five, I'm like, dude, you are really underselling Apocalypse. Like Apocalypse is its own fucking game. Like you did not need to play four to enjoy
I saw a
Apocalypse.
lot of people saying
Whereas
that, and it's
like
not true at all. Yeah.
yeah, well, and it's like yes, like all not all re-releases are created equal. It's like it's like even like going to the Persona comparison. Like you can't just look at the answer in Fez and compare it to the third semester in Royal. Like even those like those are still very different ways of implementing new additional content, and this is their first time of really including something and splitting it up. Like I think a better way of how it was handled was just making. I think the way Record Breaker handles it is the better option. obviously it's a much cheaper and a different kind of scenario with it, but like Record Breaker was like, okay, we're going to add all of these quality of life features to the original base game, add some things to the story, and then have this giant, almost like epilogue like story that's its own
Its own
other
thing. Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Yeah, because when you try to just make them both into the same, like I think there's a way even, like I at least feel like there could have been a way of introducing the fight for the throne, the Council of Bethel, and the Kadishtu all in one story without it seeming too heavy.
I do too. I don't know exactly how it would work, but I think like it's like you said, like you decide to go and like
Yeah, like
investigate one
you
thing.
have
Yeah.
to pick where you're going. Like obviously it wouldn't just be one versus the other, but it's like one of those things of you will never think of the Kadishtu in the story of creation in the same way that the Council of Bethel never once matters in the canon of Vengeance.
Yeah, that's I guess that's what I was trying to say. It's like they're not quite like companion pieces. It's just like two games that are like the latter two thirds are different. It's weird. I don't know. Canon creation gives you more background. Vengeance gives you more characters, but it also has its own background. So it's not like they don't feel incomplete without each other. They don't quite like yeah.
No, they're complementary for sure. Like they're two sides. They're two different sides of the same coin, but they don't feel like a heads and they're not complementary in the sense of I can just experience one and feel complete. Like I think that would be kind of that thing of like if you and I had like I'd be genuinely curious, and if anyone in the comments has done this, please let me know. If someone out there has ever just been like, I'm just gonna play Vengeance and never play Creation. I'm like, I cannot imagine that.
I don't know how it would go because like as much as I like didn't like Canon of Creation, there's still like certain things that I do remember, like the Demon King that I would be very confused
Well,
about if I didn't play it.
well, and also even other things of like there's giant sections and worlds you'll then never get to experience because they don't have the same levels or dungeons and other things like that as well, which is so funny. Of like, and I will say this because man, it was so true. There was a certain level, scope, and scale I kind of thought Shinjuku was going to be. Man, I need to see what Shinjuku looks like on the Switch so bad. That area is so fucking big.
It's
I was like,
huge.
all right,
Yeah.
guys, I got to the end of Shinjuku, right? No? Oh, okay, all right, I'll go. I guess I'll go up a little bit more. All right, am I done? No, we're still go. Jesus. Okay, so Shinjuku is just actually just an entire fourth of Japan, apparently, because it goes through about 900 different fucking biomes.
Shinjuku is really, really impressive, and I don't think by and large the exploration of Canon of Creation is like very engaging. Like the maps look pretty. I like looking for Mimon, but there's nothing like really going on. But then Shinjuku is like
I
dynamic.
would
It's
say
crazy.
Shinjuku feels like the natural evolution of the fourth level. I forget the name of it, but the one that when you're playing in Canon of Creation and it's the okay, here you are in the middle of the map, you have four deities to beat,
Yeah,
pick whatever order you want and fight that. I think that's what they took what they learned on that map because I think that's probably the best map in the game in my opinion in terms of exploration, how it uses the story and stuff like that. And Shinjuku really kind of leans into it of there's a structured way that you're going through Shinjuku, but it still gives you a lot of freedom. Like I remember the funny thing of when I got to the point in Shinjuku where they said, "Oh, okay, hey, head back now." You could still keep
you can keep
exploring. I
going. I did that
explored.
too.
I I kept going to the point where I was like, "Oh, okay, well." Now I'm gonna go back, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I already went through all of downtown." But like downtown was so huge, I just kept going because it was like, "Oh my god!" Like, all right, let's go check out the parking garage. Let's go check out like the giant like structures and everything because it was like it was so different compared to the rest of the map. I just kept wanting to go and explore
I did the
more.
same thing, and like all the other maps, like I said, they look good, but to me it boils down to like it's sand and it's like building ruins. But then Shinjuku is like the grass like glows and there's like these weird trees, and then you go actually into it like a dense city and you go inside a parking garage and there's a temple. Like it's really dynamic. They did really good with it. It's so different than the other maps. Like you can tell they learned a lot in like 3 years, I guess.
Yeah, and it really it really has kind of doubled down as well for me. Like after playing Vengeance, I still want that team to do more with this idea. I think there's a really cool open world design that they could do, because at no point does it ever feel like you have to do all this shit. You can always ignore the meme on. You can always, like, and especially because like the funny thing with Vengeance, especially with all the extra side quests they add, I think there's like 150 plus different side quests. Like it doesn't feel like you're drowning in them though. They're always so spaced out enough that it doesn't feel like you have this giant checklist of like 20 tasks open, unless you're just ignoring them all. So it's kind of that fun thing of like you can be in these worlds as long or as little as you want. Like when you're doing a new game plus run of SMT5 especially, like you're blazing through that world because you don't have to be in it. You don't have to explore it.
Right.
You're not looking for
Yeah,
things.
definitely. Oh, it's like, what was I gonna write? I'm looking through my own review of this, kind of like pulling points out of it, because I'm not gonna remember off the top of my head.
Not after 2 hours of talking about ambulances and foil covers for sure. But one of the other ones I wanted to kind of ask you with it was like how have you enjoyed the gameplay, especially because what's been so funny for me has been like it. I feel like this is one of those rare cases of I have heard almost nobody complain about the difficulty changes or balancing with this one. I feel like everyone has been like, this feels just the right difficulty. Whether you want it to be easy enough to play or hard enough to smash your testicles in, like it's a really good kind of pace with it. Like obviously there's some complaints and stuff and some balancing I think they could have done to Godhood mode, but that's like okay, if our biggest complaint with difficulty is the post beating it like hard version, like okay, whatever, that's fine. Like that's something that they can patch or work on later with it. Like I don't know if you've seen it, but like it's so funny in Godhood mode.
I have seen some
Fucking,
of it.
you'll be
Yeah.
you'll be level 150, but like on Path of Vengeance, like when you have an all NPC fight, they're all like level 6. It's like what the fuck? It's like what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like totally crazy. I don't have too many I don't have too many combat complaints. Like the biggest problem the game had was that like the damage scaling, and they got rid of it. They fixed it. If you're a few levels behind, I thought it felt spongy. Other people thought it felt spongy. But then some people were saying it didn't exist, and then they came out and said, we're getting rid of it. So apparently it did exist. It feels a lot better in my opinion. The only like
It
oh, you can go ahead.
It,
You can go
it's
ahead.
kind of it's kind of tough because I feel like especially for you and I, since the first half of the game is so similar, especially with a lot of those big boss moments.
Yeah.
Like I remember the first big wall I always warned people about was like, if you're not ready or if you don't think you're ready, Nua, that first fight is a really good way of knowing if you're ready for this game or not.
Yeah.
Because then if you haven't done enough, it's like, all right, buddy, go back into the world. You got to do more grinding. Whereas like I feel like I can tell the differences that have happened with the job so far, but at the same time, I have to ask myself like, is the game balance better, or is it because I'm remembering these fights? Am I remembering what I need to bring into these battles? Like, it's kind of tough to like know for sure. Is the game feeling more balanced to me, or is my memory making the game feel more balanced?
I think it's more balanced because what I do is like I fight the bosses like 10 levels behind, and you can do that now. In the original one, you couldn't do
Thank
that.
God.
So the only like complaint I came up with, and this is like a probably like a purist like gripe, like probably nobody cares. When you go to the demon haunts, which I like the demon haunts and I like the dialogue, but I felt like the frequency of which your demons stats go up in your levels are just given to you for free. I thought it was crazy high, and I used the same. I had like slime for like half the game. I had pixie the whole game. You don't have to like
Well, dude, Pixie's like natural ability is like practically like a lifesaver just for negotiating alone.
yeah, like I'm talking like every like 10, 15 minutes you can go back to the demon haunt and your demon stats will go up like 3 points. And I was like, did they really like it has a lot of effects for me. Like first, I think it sort of takes away from the atmosphere a little bit, where like you're trying to get by in this like crazy desolate world, and they're like ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. Like I get it, like it sort of takes away from that. Another thing I said is like it just sort of like you can let your team get stale now. I'm saying like for the
Oh,
first
for
half of the
sure.
game, I had like Pixie, Ippon Slime, and I've used a couple things, but I didn't really have to do much, especially because you have Tao and Yoko, and they level up like by themselves, I guess. Like they get new moves sometimes.
Well, and not only do they level up, like they're fixed, but also the thing with them that like kept me wanting to use them is they're fixed points, but especially you kind of get to a point with Tao and Yoko of they don't have limiters of the skills that they can learn. So like you are constantly, and for the most part, I feel like I don't know if it's just because of how much more time you spend with Tao and Yoko as NPCs versus uh, Atsuda and Dazai,
Mhm.
just in the sense because like I feel like I wish that they gave you everyone a little bit more because like I get it for the reason of the story why you don't have Atsuda more or you don't have Dazai more, but like it felt like those moments where like, fucking I think especially like the first time you finally get Atsuda and he can join your party like outside of that opening fight, it's like dude your weakness is like your skill is the boss is like one thing he's not weak to. Why would I include you in this fight?
Yeah. There's a time where they let you use like everybody. It's really funny. You can have a whole team of like humans.
Oh no, as soon as I could do Atsuda, Yoko, and Ichiro, I was like, oh, that's all I wanted. Like I wanted the devil summoner gang for sure.
Yeah, and I like that. From a story perspective, I like it. But I think I talk about this in the review. Like the upgrades, I think are super frequent, and I don't think they're necessary. It takes like away atmospherically for me, and I just think like why'd they include it? Like if they took away the scaling, like why do they like bombard you in free level ups? I feel like they overcompensated. They don't want people to complain about the difficulty anymore. Like, oh, you felt underpowered before. Like here, take these level ups, take these level ups. I thought it was weird. It's not really a complaint. It's just like why'd they do it? It just feels weird.
It's extra funny too because there's other things that kind of go into it. Do you remember when we were playing original vanilla SMT5, and we were like, I don't know if I've ever seen more useless DLC than the Mitama DLC.
Yeah, now you really don't need it.
Now, especially, and I'm like, who needs this? Like, I was like, I bought it just because, like, I want to do, like, a little DLC overview, but it's just so funny because it's like, literally, you will never need this. You will never, ever, like, you find Mitamas so, especially, like, I feel like with the navigators spawn the Mitamas more than I ever find them in the open world.
You can find them everywhere, and then there's that you can go to that bridge, like Bethel, Egypt, and they spawn there, like all over the place.
Yeah, I think the fact that they have predetermined spawn locations also just makes them so farmable without the DLC that it's just like I get it because they've always had it as DLC since 4 as like a paid thing, but it's just like it's not. I'm not even mad that it costs money. I'm just like, who is
Who
this
needs it? I
for?
don't. Yeah.
Like, who's legitimately using it? Like, at least safety difficulty, I understand. That's for like the one-fingered babies out there who have to beat the game. But like even on safety, these would ruin them because like I assume you have not played with the DLC on before.
I don't even have it. Yeah.
They literally spawn everywhere. They will be a part of every group spawn throughout the whole map. There's no area they won't spawn in.
It's like overkill.
It is, and it's like it's so funny. Like the only way it could be easier is if like you buy the DLC and it comes with a permanent telescope.
Yeah. It's corny.
So I will say though the Magatsui Mitamas might be one of the most like that. That gave me a
It's
dopamine hit.
insane.
The way that
Yeah.
like only a silver slime has ever given me.
Yeah. It can be satisfying. Like I like being able to level up my party. I called it a purist complaint because like to me fusion and like your demons being recyclable is like the series to me. And in this game,
Hmm.
I played like half the game without fusing, and I didn't have to fuse. But like the final few bosses didn't have to fuse because you can get demons with side quests, and you have a human with you because of the story. So that part of what I talk about is just like, is this like the right way for this series? Like, do people like being able to do whatever they want with their party? I sort of prefer when it's like you have to like make sacrifices, and I don't think you have to do that as much in this game. So I just talk about that for a while. But that's the biggest complaint with the combat, and it's kind of minor. So I think the combat's really, really good overall.
was another one I was going to ask was, how did you feel about the early implementation of the Kadishtu, the new characters, and things like that? Because like I joke about Yoko as like the Poochie of this game, but like genuinely, for a character who wears the most brown, boring uniform known to man, I will say I am shocked at how actually good of a character she was.
I like Yoko, and I love the Kadishu. I was happy to see them show up early. I think all the boss fights are really fun. Um, yeah, I was surprised that I liked Yoko. I think I expected like I don't know, like Strange Journey
I think
Alex or
we were all
something.
ready
Yeah.
to like yeah, we were all ready for her to be Timu Alex. We were
Yeah.
like, all right, just give me. Well, again, like because again, it's like she's the most boring designed character in the whole cast. Like she's just got a brown schoolgirl uniform on for a school that literally isn't even fucking shown in the game. Like by the way, I was expecting the whole time in the story like for there to be like a half-ass twist, and the half-ass twist was going to be, oh, did you know that Saint Maria's Academy actually isn't even a real school? No, it is. It's even more. It's even more of show it.
They could have done
Whatever.
more.
That's his own thing. But like, uh, because like, listen, I'm glad that they have more reasons for us to go back to Tokyo and
Me too.
Vengeance.
Yeah.
But oh my god, it is just the most wasted map of all time.
There's a few quests that I thought really good. Like there's like the Turbo
Turbo
Granny. Yeah,
Granny.
Turbo Granny.
Turbo Granny's a great one.
Yeah.
I've seen so much fan art of that, and it is good because like it did stuff that we never saw outside of like the temple and the school dungeon of like you exist in this world as a normal person, but you can still become the Nahabino again.
You just
You
do.
have
Yeah.
to go together.
I thought those quests were kind of like in like the Amabie one. It reminds me of like Devil Summoner a little bit, like more like low key.
Yeah, it was goofy. It was like they were very fun and lighthearted in a way that I actually really enjoyed.
Me too. I was really happy to see them out. Like the dorm even kind of adds a lot. Yeah.
Yo, Afro Kid on the roof
Yeah.
needed more dialogue. Always appreciate a good Afro Kid.
I I like the quest. I like the real world. I I was a little like worried, I guess, for like the first few hours when like the story is pretty much the same thing, but then it changes
Oh, I
pretty
know.
fast when you get to like that. I don't know how you say that. That big dog, like global. I don't fucking know. Glaboldo.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of does, but like not in a way that I was really expecting. There is legitimately a moment, and it is funny because it is just after the school dungeon, where like literally the moment you expect to happen with Tao,
Yeah.
when that happens, I was like, all right. You've tricked me. I'm in. Let's go. Let's see where you're gonna go. Because it's like, okay, this is drastically different, but at the same time, it does a really good job of. I don't think it ever betrays any one character. There's never any move that you see that's like, I don't feel like Atsuda would have done this, or I don't feel like Dazai would have done X, Y, or Z with it. Like they seem believable, which I think is especially nice. In the senses of like you're getting less time with some characters than you are with others, and you're getting more than you normally would have. That it would be really easy for you to have those, and I mean, even something like having an additional like optional side quest with Miyazu goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure. I think pretty much all the characters are portrayed way better. I was a little disappointed with like how Sahori's thing goes, and we can talk about that or not because it's kind of a spoiler, but I was hoping it would like last longer or go crazier. Yeah.
I I will say this because I remember one of the funny things about they had a new art because they included her among the cast, and they had a new updated art image of her without her demon. And I remember like thinking to myself like, "Ooh, will Sahori be like a new NPC who like joins the?
I
Oh
was
no,
hoping,
oh still
right?
the same.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like and I like what they do with her character in the sense of like, okay, I appreciated that it was different, especially because like it changes the whole reason of why you're in the second level, even though the second level you're still looking for students.
Yeah, that was a pretty smart change.
I think also having relationships grow without your involvement, but you still get to be around them, I think is really nice. I like that they don't shove in your face the growing pains of Dazai joining Bethel Japan and his like initial conflicts with Atsuda, but at the same time it's like it's there enough for you to get it without them having to make it part of the story. Like that's at least background storytelling that like okay, they didn't need to give us any more. Like I would have been here for it, but like the stuff that they show with Atsuda and Dazai, like it's just enough. I get it. Great. Let's go.
Something I liked is like when you have those two on your team, like this time, which you couldn't do before in the Kingdom Creation, like you can see their stats and you can see their moves. And I posted about this on Twitter. Like to me, that's like a lot of storytelling when you see like what their moves are called. Just you can kind of picture like what they've been doing in the background. And the one I talk about in my review is like Yuzuru has like Witness Me, and that sort of fits his character. He wants to like protect his sister, protect the city. I like that kind
Hmm.
of stuff. I think it adds a lot, even if you don't really like. It's not like voice dialogue or like something really in your face, but it's just like a nice little detail that adds a lot to the story. It helps you remember the character more.
No, for sure. Um, I know he's not everyone's favorite, but man, I will say this. I definitely got to a point in the Canon of Vengeance where it felt like someone had personally listened to me and how much Kitty Misa had a hard on for Koshimizu. And they said, "Here you go, Spencer. Here's your fanfic. Here's just all the Koshimizu you ever wanted." And I was here for it, and I had no complaints.
Yeah, he turns into like the shining point of the game. Like he's really important. I loved him in the game. I mean, I think everybody
Well,
knows
because
there's a new form. Like the new form is really cool.
well, and it's funny too because like I remember when we talked about it of like Koshimizu before was a really cool character and had a really cool twist at the end of the base game, but because he was so tied off screen to Atsuda, he never really felt like he kind of came into his own. And the way that like they at least still kind of include him more in the first half and then tie into it for the last half of the game, I think goes a really, really long way, especially into it. I will say though, because like I think even with hindsight, I understand why they included showing the new form in the trailer, and I don't think it's a major spoiler to know that it is there. I would have preferred if that was not in the marketing material. I think that moment could have hit a lot harder versus just knowing, okay, I'm in the new content. When do I get the new
Yeah, I
form?
was waiting for it.
Something's going to happen. You're just wait like it's not like, "Oh my god, I'm purple now." No, it's just, you just know what's going to happen. You just don't know when.
I saw a lot of people posting like that. I agree. Like maybe it would have been hard to like sell people or something on the game if they were just sort of like, yeah, well, the story's different, but there's not really, we're not going to show you that much.
You can't really understand it just by the giant glow spinning dungeon. Instead, I gotta show you the scythe arm and the purple hair
So
now.
yeah, they show you that to like reel you in. It's like, oh, it's really different. It would have been a crazy surprise. It would have been like super memorable. I still think the way they do it, like the surrounding scenes are really good and like so surprising.
Yeah, I'm glad at least they didn't spoil the how you change forms. It's just it was a bummer that everyone knew that you were going to change forms.
Yeah. I love that new form. They say like, Aogami was like the combat unit, but I'm like the Tsukiyomi is like the administrator. So it's like you're fusing with like an office guy, like you're not the weapon anymore. You're different. You're not a weapon. Yeah. You're like the
I should
master
be better.
tactician.
I should be better at demon negotiating just because of all my my diplomat skills.
That's sort of the way I thought of it. I was curious if there'd be like some kind of, I don't know, like different gameplay effect, and there's really not. But that new move you get, like Omnipotent Succession, is a lot of fun. I love that.
Oh man, yeah, like the all the new Magatsui skills are so fun, and like my only kind of complaint with them because I feel like and I always get this fucked up the like ones you get that demons can have and always be used on singular demons versus the P letter one that you have to have a certain like
The
grouping
alignments,
of demons
yeah.
for. Yeah, like I love those. My only problem is, I think, especially coming off of Persona 3 Reload, with the way that it handles the theurgy attacks of like, okay, well, I guess actually to be fair, like the theurgies can be done even if you don't have the persona, but like you need to have that demon at one point to unlock it. I think having one of those three demons or two demons or four demons, if as long as they were in your compendium at one point, I feel like that should have been enough to do the skill if you have one of them there. I think it is kind of silly that it's like, no, 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 I have to have all the Jack Bros or else I can't do the Jack Frost skill, even though I will never use the other two. I will only be using Black Frost, but I have to have all three of them.
Yeah, and that goes back to like the new skills encourage you to experiment, but they also like you sort of like have to let your team get stale. Like you have to keep them if you want to use those skills, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird because like I'm constantly wanting to get the new demons and everything with it, but the game is constantly kind of like reminding you, be like, oh hey, don't forget to keep this person.
Yeah,
Yep, make sure they're still there.
it's a little like maybe contradictory, but it's like it's like a minor complaint, I guess. You know, if you want to use the new moves, do it. If you don't, don't. I personally didn't use very many of them, but you know,
Well, and that's the thing, and it's like it's kind of funny of like a lot of those attacks are really really well animated because like that was one of the big shining examples of SMT5 of all the unique demon attacks, and like they all look great. And the same goes for, and we'll talk about the new demons after this, but like those attacks were always so cool to see, even if it was a demon you only wanted to use once or twice. That the final like new Magatsui attack pairings are really cool, and they're super strong, and all of them are like fantastic to use. Because remember, the biggest uphill battle Magatsui attacks always have to have is, okay, but is it better than all critical?
and usually it's not, in my opinion.
Exactly, but those pairing attacks actually did get me to finally stop using all critical because it would have enough negative buff effects or negative debuffs that I could like justify doing it, or like with an ailment or something like that. So I was glad to see that there for it, but yeah, like I just kind of wish we could have been a little bit leaner with the pairings and everything for it, but it only just kind of sticks out because they look so cool and they're so full of like interesting pairings and combinations that you wouldn't necessarily expect, and there's a ton of them in the game. But I feel like most people I know who've beaten the game have maybe used one or two.
I I used very few of them. I mostly used critical. I mostly used omnipotent succession. There's one fight, maybe I don't know. There's one fight I don't know if you got to it yet, but you almost have to use Shield of God. So I guess you'll see that, or maybe not. Maybe you don't have to. I thought you had to, but that's like a lot of them. They were really like situational. I know Shield of God was in the original game too, and they were definitely situational. They're like you needed it for Shiva. So I was like three moves the whole game. I kept the same. I honestly kept the same party for a lot of the game because I could. It was like Tao, Yoko, Pixie, like for a lot of the game.
Like I eventually got to the point where I was like, "All right, Spencer, you got to stop using Tao and Yoko." Like they were just
I wanted to
ran
though.
through
Yeah.
almost I almost ran through the entirety of Shinjuku only with them.
Well, me too. I mean, I did, and it's like I like it. It
And
reminds.
you're not penalized for it. It's like it's you have to be the one to stop doing it. The game's never going to punish you.
Yeah, I did it. I mean, it reminds me a lot of like SMT1, and I like kind of like the whole like you go around with people and demons. And I was thinking like, well, what if you had an extra slot? Like, what if you had five? Then it would be a little bit better, but then that would like rebalance the entire game. So I don't know. I was just thinking about like how could they in a future game like strike some kind of balance, maybe keep you forced to experiment a little bit, but also have human party members.
I mean, I at least appreciate it enough because it also that and the Demon Haunts added to one of the biggest complaints I had with the in between story moments of like SMT5 as a whole was always like, bro, we are doing some crazy stuff and we are very rarely ever talking about it. So like, well, I'm sure some people might look at the like, all right, you just finished a quest, now let's talk about the morality of what this means for it as like really on the nose.
Yeah.
I at least like that that's there because it was never black and white, at least in terms of either how Yoko was going to respond to you or Tao, or what Tao might think about what you decided to do versus another. So it was less kind of like, well, great job, lawman, you really did a good thing with that law thing you chose. It was always like, it was an interesting discussion without it feeling like one of those like jokey telltale moments of like Tal will remember that you chose this.
Right. I liked Tao, and I saw some complaints online that like she's too good, and like I kind of get that because it's like it's SMT, so like all the characters should probably be like psychotic to an extent. I liked this like the dichotomy of like Tao's the optimist, Yoko's the cynicist. It's like maybe not best for the series, but it's entertaining and it was better than what was before. So I don't know. Like I liked
Yeah.
it. I like the
No,
like the car quote and stuff. Like that was funny. There's a lot of funny stuff.
if you told me people were going to look at Yoko and turn her into anime Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad,
Yeah,
I would have never believed you.
it's a good character. I feel like Apocalypse kind of tried to do like the whole like there's only two endings that really matter type of thing, like optimism, cynicism. But like this game does it better. So I feel like they built on that a little bit, even though Apocalypse was an entirely different game and not a re-release. Like just how the story is structured, it sort of feels like they built off of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Trying to think of other ones with it. Other questions for you. Do you feel like at this point with Vengeance, are there are there any kind of red flags after beating it that you would be like, okay, this wasn't this wasn't fixed after vanilla. I think you guys would want to do this with it because one of the things I've been really kind of surprised with were even if I don't love all of the changes, I've been really kind of surprised about like how well everything still kind of works together when you're playing it in the moment. The game has a really good pace. Like it's really easy for me just to kind of lose myself when I'm playing and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go down this hill or I'm just going to collect these Memon and I'm going to do this and then like it's 3 hours later and it's like I've gotten so much done, but I feel like I've barely like still scratched the surface of the game.
Yeah, the biggest complaint I guess that I still have about it is like I wasn't a huge fan, like I said, of like the original maps so much. In Vengeance, it's still mostly the original maps. So for me, it's like there's that one highlight, Shinjuku. It's really, really good. They learned a lot, but you're still stuck in like the structure of the old maps. And the final map is still the same, and that really like after like the high of Shinjuku, you're like, oh, like sick. Like what's gonna be next? How's this game gonna end? And it's like, oh, like okay, it's this one again. I don't like how it's like stuck in that. I wasn't expecting maybe all new maps, but I was hoping for like a little bit more. Like Shakan, I talk about this in the video. I swear before this game came out, people were saying like there's gonna be dungeons, like the dungeons are back. And then Shakan is like a Demon King Castle reskin. So like they're not back.
We're replacing fans with gravity
It's like
puzzles.
this the enemies are the same, the puzzle's different, but even some of the rooms are like I think the same thing or really close.
It it feels like a well lit version of the Demon King Temple for sure.
Yeah. So I just think they need to like take more notes, I guess, from Shinjuku and keep getting better. Like I love that map. I think I like exploration to like have a challenge. Like I like first person dungeon crawlers, and I'm not saying the games need to be first person, but like they need to take notes from that maybe and kind of introduce a way that makes exploration have like a sort of risk or challenge to it. Because in Vengeance, I can outrun all the enemies. I can like jump over them. They're not going to catch you. There's no resource you have to manage. You can teleport back. That's fine. It's just not my preferred style. And some of the ideas I came up with was like in future games I like to see is like forcing you to actually like have to pay attention to landmarks, maybe to navigate. Because in the first person games, you have to kind of learn the maps to an extent, like map them out yourself. I like
Yeah.
that. I would also like to see if they did like another open kind of game, like is maybe like a stupid idea I came up with. It was like weather or something where it would like force you to take a different path or like change how the demons act. I just think there needs to be more going on that keeps you like paying attention besides Mimon. I like looking for Mimon, but I don't really ever feel like in this game that I'm in danger. I sort of just like glide around and do what I want. So some people might like that. It's just not my preferred style for the series. That's kind of like the biggest complaint I have.
I'm always kind of shocked I haven't heard more people talk about this, but also I feel like this could easily just be old man yells at cloud with it. How did you like the addition and the use of the Magatsui rails?
They're fine. I didn't really think they were like like super groundbreaking or anything. There's like some shortcuts, but I liked them. I think before the game came out, some people were like seemed kind of like apprehensive about it, like it would make the game like mindless or like too easy. I think it's fine. Like you can already teleport back to save spots, so this gives you like a more organic way to do that, kind of explore them out.
I will say, man, I completely do not ever want to go back to playing this game without a save anywhere feature. It was just like, oh man, yes, save scumming in this game is just so much easier.
When it first came out and they were saying like, oh, you can save anywhere, I was sort of like, oh, like does that like take away more of the challenge? But I was like no, like already in the game, there's nothing you have to manage, so it doesn't break any of the balance. And it's also like I have a job and I don't give a shit. Like I want to save the game and turn it off. Like so I kind of like it. I don't really have a problem with it. I like that QOL kind of stuff. Like I don't think saving anywhere is a big problem. I know some people still don't
No,
like it, but I don't know.
my thing, kind of going back to the Magatsuya rails, is I think they serve a purpose for exploration and getting around to other things without adding an egregious amount of leyline founds. My only problem is I just think the way that they look and are implemented, it literally looks like they hired the dude from Sonic Frontiers who was like, "Hey, why is that floating platform there?" "Oh, just 'cause." Like, in the lore of the world, the Magatsuki rails make fuck all sense. They make no sense.
Yeah, the ones where you like float up and then you like land on like a red block. I was like, like what's up with that? Maybe they could have done that better or just like made it like a continuous thing. I don't know.
Yeah, because, like, and I mean, like, you don't even get to, like, unless you're in, like, the third or even maybe second area, like, you don't even have an area that, like, when it has the floating platform and there's more than one spot to go on until, like, the second or third area. So it's like, why am I stopping on this rail halfway to walk to another rail?
I wonder if they like just couldn't make them like longer than a certain length or something.
If the Magatsuki rail is longer than X amount, the switch will just self implode. But then even that's not true, because then like in Shinjuku, some of those rails are crazy long. Like the one you take all the way up to Shakan is like such an awesome moment in that
It's
game.
really cool. I love the entrance to Shakan. That looks crazy how you like fly all the way up there.
Man, would have been great if you like took that design inside. But I mean, I guess the budget got blown on the outside.
I was really let down by that stage. I was like, I didn't watch too many trailers, but every trailer I saw was like, it had like fucking like Koshi Mizu was like, young man, this is Shakan. I was like, oh, this is gonna be crazy. This is gonna be like a mall labyrinth, and then it's not. It's like an hour long, which is I don't know. It's fine, but I thought it was gonna be something else.
Someone somewhere at Atlus, I believe in them. They have the ability to design a dungeon that will be better than uh the fucking, why am I forgetting the name where you're going and hunting all the in Maniacs for Nocturne. Why am I forgetting the name of that one?
The dungeon where you're hunting.
Yeah, well, like, no, sorry,
Mm.
not where you're hunting. The dungeon where each menorah unlocks a new path and stuff for it. Why am I forgetting the name
Oh,
of that?
a mall labyrinth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I feel like there is an attempt to surpass the Amal Labyrinth, and that someone could do it. I just don't think that they have the time. Because, like, I feel like. Have you played much Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom?
No, but I'm like familiar with them. Like I've watched a lot of it. My friends.
I feel like the similar problems with the dungeons or the lack thereof focused in well designed dungeons in 5 are similar with Zelda in the sense of they blew their load so hard on those open worlds that like when it comes to making a linear traditional dungeon, it will always feel lacking
Mhm.
because they are trying to make those designed open worlds the best part of the game.
That makes total sense. dungeons are just something I really like about the series. So I was really hoping for
Well,
Shikon,
and it,
but yeah,
and it's like it almost feels like a double-edged sword. Like it feels like you're either going to get a well-realized Tokyo with great dungeons and no open world, or an amazing open world with one or two dungeons.
yeah. I don't I don't know why people were saying that before release. I swear it was a thing. There are people that are saying there are going to be more
No,
dungeons.
they had said in interviews that they were adding multiple changes and new dungeons altogether with things, but really it was just kind of like, oh, okay, there
There's
it is. All
Shikon, there's
right, thank
Shinjuku.
you.
I think that's like it. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything else. So
No, it's tough, and again, it almost kind of goes back to that thing of like our idea of if I think there even might be a better version of this game if you found a way to naturally work that all into one route. Because again, you're gonna have that thought whether you do the Demon King's domain or Shakan first or second. You're gonna get to that point where you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of similar to this one.
yeah, it's a little too similar. Like they could have at least changed the spawns, I think. They're the exact same, like the same like horse guy.
Yeah, well, like, the fact that like the horses are literally the first enemies running in the same pattern
Yeah.
too. It's like, can we give anyone else a running animation like any other demon, please? Turbo Granny, fucking give Turbo Granny another spin out
They should
here.
have been like angels or something, because that's where the angels are. Like not the horse guy. I don't know. That's just stuff that I notice. Like I don't
I mean, I at least liked. I will say because like SMT5 does a great job with flavor text. I really like a lot of the like comments of like, "Stop, have at you. I'm gonna fight you because you're a cursed being, not of God." In our domain versus, hey dude, you were kind of on our side at one point, but like we're getting fucking invaded, so like just do whatever you gotta do. I'm just gonna hang out here.
Yeah. I like the angel. They do add like an angel at the bottom, like the cherubim. That's pretty weird. The big head.
Man, that
It's
fight,
kind
I
of
was
tough actually.
surprised at the first fight with them. Of being like, holy shit,
It's
this
actually
fight's hard.
I forget how it goes, but there's some kind of like gimmick to you have to seal them.
The
Yeah.
You have to basically either seal them or beat it fast enough because otherwise they will do a charge up attack with their Magatsui that will one shot you.
Yeah. I like stuff like that. Um where are you like in the game?
I am just about to beat Shakan.
Oh shit. So did I spoil you?
Oh no,
Okay.
no! I had known about the
I was
last.
gonna
I had
say.
known about the last level being the
Okay,
same.
I hope you didn't know that.
No, it was because I had a buddy of mine was playing through, and he was like, "Oh my god, the new level is so big, it's crazy." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm really excited to go to it." And he's like, "Hey, just lower your expectations once you beat that level."
Well, there's some stuff to look forward to, but overall, like I wasn't super impressed. But I guess keep an open mind. There's some different stuff in the last level.
Oh no, yeah, and I get that for sure, but it was just funny just to be like, all right, and the budget ran out right here.
That's
There we go.
exactly what it
Because like
felt like.
I would be genuinely really curious because like there's a lot of like little things in this game that's just like, huh, there was a lot of people working on this game, but I wouldn't be shocked if this was like a team of like 15 people for 3 years, not like 100 people for 3 years.
Yeah, it's like I said. Like I wasn't expecting like a full new map set, but it does feel like they had a good
Oh, I mean,
team.
even other things of like the amount of just not voiced dialogue just gives major budget vibes. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, there are so many things that are not voice acted in the new route. Like, I get it if it's like the old route and you don't want to like go back and add voices that might sound different after 2.5 years, but it's like there are things that I'm like, okay, why is this voiced and this isn't? Like, there are some subquests that are voiced.
Mhm.
And then there are some majority that are not. There are some main quests that are not voiced. Why are some main quests not voiced?
It's a little inconsistent. It feels like they had a good team that did that one stage, and they're like, we made this crazy big stage with all this crazy shit in it, and they kind of like it all went to this one stage. Whereas maybe they could have made more levels, and they would have been like less good. So I guess at least it's good if they made
I
one very good one.
I am I'm still genuinely going to be curious. Like once I kind of work on my video with this, of like, I think if you've never bought this game for $60, this is such a slam dunk steal of a value for a game. At the same point, I'm still like, bro, you 1,000% could have just given this as like a $30 DLC.
Yeah, it's full price, and there's still, I complain about this in my review. There's still like Dogda. Did they have to cut that out? Come on now, it's the second release.
Dude, and the fact that the DLC demons are like some of the best
Yeah,
too also is like, come on,
it's
man.
not cool because we're buying the game 2 times. So you could have left Dogda in, but
Well, you should have bought the digital deluxe version. Sounds like a you problem.
my idea was like, why can't it just be like some stupid, like I don't know, like put some like digital wallpapers, make a digital game guide, let me download the soundtrack, but give me the Dogda quest.
I hate nothing more than digital art books and digital soundtracks. They are the most waste
It's
of
a
fucking
waste, but it's
digital
not
space. I
content at
hate it.
least, like Dogda.
I hate it, dude. Listen, dude, just make the DLC content ass. If it's always ass, that'd be one thing. They keep making good DLC though. That's the problem.
Yeah, and like I know.
Dude, the Atlus fandom, like seriously, think about this. The Atlus fandom will not know what to do with itself. Like it's like if the answer comes out in September, the DLC. If that answer comes out and it's like even close to no big deal. People will still hate on Atlus. But if it's like the best DLC Atlus has ever done, people are not going to do this. They'd be like, "Oh shit! Not only do I have to like the answer now, but I have to give Atlus another $35 for it."
Yeah, and like, I don't know. I hope they don't. Didn't they say they're gonna change that? Like, no more DLC. No, I don't know. No more
No,
re-releases or
no,
something.
no way. I think if you put a gun up to Studio Zero's team's head, I bet you they would still not tell you one way or another if Metaphor is getting a re-release.
Oh, I'm sure it will. We'll see, I guess.
Metaphor, the presidential candidate of the year edition.
It's like that game already has like the day one DLC. I guess we'll just have to see how that one is. That's a whole nother bucket. I bet you will get
We
it.
just gotta hope it's not another Soul Hackers 2.
It doesn't look like it, but we'll see.
It has a budget larger than $13. You are correct.
It's a pretty high budget, doesn't it? It looks like it does.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude. It's
It's a Persona
I would
2
say
studio letter.
it's definitely not a budget of Persona 5, but I would say it definitely had a bigger budget than Reload. And Reload had a pretty good budget.
Yeah, and I thought Reload was, I mean, what I played of it was good. So I'm optimistic for Metaphor. Maybe if the stages were like P5, that'd be good. I like Persona 5 stages.
See, dude, you haven't experienced peak Atlus dungeon design, which is Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and once you experience that, then you can understand what like proper great dungeon design is.
I'll have to play that still. I need to pick it
It's
up.
on your you can play it on your Switch Lite. I bet that bad boy's looking dusty.
Mm, I haven't really. I bought Danganronpa S, that shitty like gacha
Oh,
game.
boo. God, dude. Yeah, remember when I said I'm glad Danganronpa's dead? That's why I said that.
Yeah, that's like one of the only games I bought recently on there.
Game was garbo, dude.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, you know what Danganronpa needs? A bunch of
board game.
non-canonical swimsuit board games.
Yeah, no.
But with no mini games. Wouldn't it be fun? Like, what if we took all the fun out of Mario Party and all the money aspect out of Fortune Street and just made it about running around and collecting CGs?
It was like $2.
You know what? You know what? Another thing going back to if Danganronpa cared, they would have done this. If Danganronpa wanted me to respect Danganronpa S, they would have had voice acting. No voice acting, that means no
What,
one
has no
cares.
voice acting? Jeez.
No voice acting. They got no dude because they're not going to pay for anyone to come back from these games like 7 years ago to bring these characters back. You're lucky you got any new art. You are lucky there's any new art in that game, and it's all fan service swimsuit CGs.
I bought it because it was on sale, and the more I hear about it, the more I'm like it
It's
sucks.
literally the appendix of that bundle because like you know how it's included in the like trilogy like
Yeah,
pack.
yeah.
It's like, oh, it's an exclusive fourth new game. No, it's not. It's
Not
literally, dude. It's a free to play game they shoved into a trilogy of visual novels.
It couldn't be worse. Like I was hoping it would have like the dungeon in it or something. It doesn't have that, right? No,
I don't think so.
man. Well, that's what my Switch Lite has on it. I have Three Houses, Fire Emblem. I played a little
Get
bit of
three
that.
hopes and now we're talking. Get three hopes and then we're talking.
What's that? Is it a game?
So Three Hopes is the What Ifs Apocalypse sequel side storytelling of Three Hopes. Sorry,
Seriously?
Three
Oh, I didn't know that
Houses.
existed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It plays like a Fire Emblem Warriors, but it is the
Oh,
spin-off side sequel of it. And ironically, I actually like it more than Three Houses. Three Houses is great, but I was like, dang, I actually like the story of the Muso spin-off more than the like one it's based on.
I like a Muso game. I'd play it. I'll have to check it out. I gotta use that console. I just
Please tell me you've at least played Strikers.
No, I bought it on Steam. I finally got it.
Oh my
I finally bought
god.
it.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I have it
What am
installed.
I? What, you should play that.
Yeah.
That's like a great romp. That's like peak. That's Persona 5 with a good cast right there. You should play that
I
game.
I actually intend to pretty soon. Like I finally picked it up. I'd been meaning
It
to for
literally
years.
has. It literally has. It like says, hey, you know how most people hate Atlus re-release new insert characters? It says not only are we going to make a good new insert character, we're going to do it twice, and one of them is an adult Persona user. Thank fucking God.
It sounds like a good game. I'm definitely gonna play it pretty soon. I might be maybe a little bit burnt out. We'll see. SMT2, then
But
Vengeance.
but see, but like Strikers is so different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
It's like it's not even close to scratching that. It's because like it'd be like going from Tactica to Reload. It's like, yeah, it's Persona, but
Yeah, pretty
it's
different.
very different.
Tactica.
That's why like
Forgot to finish that.
that's why like once I beat Vengeance, I'm like, all right, dude, I got to take an RPG break because I've just been doing big long RPGs back to back to back to back to back. Of like before the answer comes out, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna sit down, shut up, and like platinum Spider-Man 2 because I've had Spider-Man 2 for like almost like 6 months now, and I'm like, I just want to play this. I want to turn my brain off, have a big open world, like dumb action game, and have some fun with Yuri Lowenthal.
As soon as I beat Vengeance, I played Sleeping Dogs. That's a great game.
Oh, that's a fucking great game. Now
Yeah.
that's a good palate cleanser game. Was that your first time?
It was my first time. I loved it. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. So like that that game is like one of the best 7 out of 10 open world games.
Yeah.
Like that game is like it's like someone, and I mean I think actually it did start as this. It literally does feel like the third game we never got for the true crime Streets of LA and New York games. Like it
Uh-huh.
feels like the
Yeah.
exact sequel to those.
It's really fun and like super satisfying after playing a turn-based game. It's,
Does it make you laugh knowing the developer behind it were the guys who did Mod Nation Racers?
I didn't know that. That is weird because it's a very good game. Is Mod Nation Razors good? Like probably not.
Mod Nation Racers is solid.
It is.
It's literally just it's Little Big Planet plus kart racing. And then when Mod Nation Racers came out and it didn't sell terrible, but it didn't sell great. Then Sony literally sold them, okay, just make the game Little Big Planet style now. And then they did Little Big Planet karting.
I did not know that, but
Yeah,
I love it. So
what was it? Why am I forgetting their name? It's oh no.
I might have to
It's
look.
United Front Games. Yeah, United Front Games. They did a bunch of stuff. I think they even did work for like Disney Infinity.
United Front. Oh, they did Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, they did a lot of support studio work. They also literally got shut down, like the studio closed when they were working on the sequel to
It's yeah,
Sleeping
on
Dogs.
Wikipedia it's like, oh, Sleeping Dogs 2. They worked on it for the PS4. Oh, it doesn't exist.
Yep.
That sucks.
Yep. Oh, yeah, they actually did one of my favorite things on Disney Infinity. Their claim to fame for Disney Infinity. God, holy shit! This is the last thing they did before. Like, so their last project they did was in Disney Infinity, because like Disney Infinity's whole thing was each playset you would buy was like a different game, so it wouldn't always be like the same kind of genre. So for whatever reason, for like the Marvel one in Disney Infinity 3, they were like, okay, we'll turn it into a fighting game because like Civil War was coming out, and it kind of like tied into it. of like, okay, you could have all the different characters fight each other, whether it be from Guardians of the Galaxy to like the Avengers or whoever. And what was funny was like, okay, we need to make a fighting game. How should we make a fighting game from this team who's made 0 fighting games? And it literally is just, imagine the guys who made Sleeping Dogs made Power Stone. It's just Marvel Power Stone, and it's fucking awesome.
Hey, it doesn't sound too bad. That's pretty cool. Disney Infinity.
So if you ever want to not buy all the Disney Infinity figures and come over to my house, I've got all of them, and you can just play and have a good time.
I'd try it. It's one of those things. Yeah, I'd never buy myself. Too much money. I'd try it though. It's probably not bad.
No, Disney Infinity. It's like only Nintendo fans bought Amiibo because they just wanted the plastic toys on their shelf. No one actually likes using Amiibo. Skylanders is fine, but was never consistently good enough. Lego Dimensions, everyone lied to themselves and just need an excuse to buy more Legos. Disney Infinity, sadly, was the only one that was actually a fun game, except no one bought it, and that's why it got canceled.
It looks like they got a bunch of sets. They got like 3 Star Wars sets. They got
Oh, dude, they had some wild ass things like if you because of course with fueling collector mentality, if in each game you bought every figure, you got a tease or like a crazy unlockable for the next set. And it was really funny was if you got all the figures in the first game, you got the I think land speeder for like Star Wars, like Luke's land speeder.
nice.
And then in the second game, you got maybe a lightsaber. It was either like a lightsaber or like something else for it. I forget what it was, but the funny one was for the third game. If you bought every figure for the third game, and it literally was like the last thing they patched in before the game got canceled, they gave you the Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts.
Seriously, what?
So
pretty
any
sick.
character in that game, you could just be like, "All right, dog, here you go. Just here's the Keyblade."
That is pretty cool, especially like you put on like Anakin or something.
Yeah, dude. Just have Anakin with the fucking Keyblade, Darth Vader. No, like Kylo Ren with the Keyblade.
That honestly is pretty neat. I mean, it's a lot of money, but I guess it's pretty cool if you love the game and you buy all the sets. It seems like it'd be fun if I knew somebody that had that as a kid.
The only thing that sucked, I will say, was because I was so tight with that community, is then all the people who were working on those games when that studio got laid off, they were like, "All right, everybody, here's all the concept stuff we were working on. Here you go, enjoy." And they shared all of it, and it's so depressing. It's like, oh my god, they would have put out so much cool shit. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I could kind of see it was getting a little bit stale. It was like they literally cut you off right before it was going to get really, really good.
So they had like a bunch of good sets like planned out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, it was crazy. They were like for the fourth game, they were gonna do a crossover world. So all the story stuff, if it was a Marvel set, you had to play with a Marvel character. Disney had to be with Disney. Star Wars, Marvel, all those had to be separated. So they were gonna finally do a all-in-one story that everyone could do together. They were doing a open world, like it was described as Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but it was a Moana set. So it was like open world, like making a ship, going to different islands, but like with like a Wind Waker kind of setup. What was it? They were doing Avatar, Rogue One. They had a bunch of just fucking crazy stuff that was going to be planned for it.
That's cool. They had a lot of good ideas. Black Flag, that's funny.
Dude, they were wild too, because like they literally were always like, we will never say no unless something has to be no. Like, dude, they were willing to make some obscure Disney references too. Of like they looked into the possibility, and I think it could have happened unless the Michael Jackson documentary came out first. They were going to look into adding Captain Neo.
Oh, what?
No, sorry, not Captain Neo, Captain EO. So
Captain
Michael
EO.
Jackson had a Disneyland attraction called Captain EO, and it's literally just spacesuit
It's like
Michael
him.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they were like, hey, we talked to the Jackson estate. They said they'd do it. We just got to get the higher ups to do it. It was like, holy shit, let's go.
That would have been crazy. I just looked it up. That would have been so funny.
Yeah, they had some just really out of pocket funny things that either they were shockingly allowed to do, or I think just people just didn't think about it. Like, you had other weird ones of like, you could get Hell Rider, what was it? You could get Hellrider's bike, not Hellrider, Ghost
Ghost
Rider's
Rider, yeah,
bike.
yeah.
And since there wasn't a Ghost Rider figure, if you put Jack Skellington on Ghost Rider's bike, it would turn his head into a flaming skull.
That's pretty sick. It's like not even like you'd think it's like I don't know, like some like lazy like cash grab, but it's not. Like they actually care.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean even just like from a collectible figure side, like the figures were always super cool. They were like really well done. They were all they always did a really good quality. Like you never really had to worry about getting a bum paint job. Whereas like even now with like whether it be like a Funko Pop or like an Amiibo, I gotta check them out because like sometimes they can look a little funky. Or like, hey man, if I'm gonna be paying like 12-15 bucks for this figure, I want
Yeah.
to make sure it looks
You want it to
good.
be good. Yeah, right. I don't have any amiibo.
You don't have any Amiibo?
No.
Dude, there's some wild Amiibos. I'm sure there's one you'd want.
Probably Joker if I ever saw
Get,
it.
they actually reprinted him. If you go into a GameStop, most GameStops around here have him.
Maybe I should
He went
check.
from like literally he literally was like an over $100 he literally was like over $100 for an amiibo like 6 months ago, and they just reprinted him like 2 or 3 months ago.
Next time I'm at the mall, I might check. I always get like depressed looking at GameStop now because they sell like T-shirts and like two games. But yeah,
So GameStop has changed a little bit more now, so they've gotten away from the collectibles. I would say this is the most even split it's been because like I remember like definitely a few years ago this was the case of like you would go there would be 90% Funko Pops and maybe 10% games.
yeah, yeah.
It definitely feels way more like a split of like pretty much if there's any t-shirts, it's all clearance. So if there's any t-shirts, it's just whatever's left over from last year. Most of it, the stuff that they sell is like trading cards, anime figures, and video games.
The one near me is like Xbox One, PS5, and that's like it. And then like a bunch of merch. It's just like I want it to be the same as when I was a kid, and it won't be when they sold like seven platforms of games.
Well, we talked about
How about
this
last
last
time?
time.
Yeah.
Have you been to one since we last talked?
Yeah, there's one near me, and it's not very good. Like it's really small.
Damn, dude, because we talked about this last time how they've been getting in 360 and PS3 stuff again. Dude, there's one near me. It's 360 selections almost as big as the Xbox One section. I'm like, damn.
I should check if that's true. I should check again. Like there's one at the mall, and it's not that good, but there's like standalone ones that are bigger, so maybe they have it.
Yeah, I'd say the mall ones are always because like mall GameStops usually have that bad tradition of like you're mostly gonna sell merch at the mall. You're not always going to sell expensive $70 game there.
That makes sense. I should check out one of the
It's like, all right,
smaller
honey,
ones.
I gotta trade in my 360 collection. Should I go to the standalone store or should I go to the mall where I gotta park and then go into another store and then go into another store to sell my stuff?
Yeah. When I was really young, the only one was in the mall, but now like where I live, there's plenty of them. The mall is like the worst option.
Well, guys,
Should check it
we've
out.
successfully doxed Marsh. Now we now know that he's near a mall with a GameStop, so that should give you guys enough ammunition to last till he's on the show again next time.
Malls are turning into like flea markets. Like now anybody can open a store in the mall. Nobody cares.
Oh, dude, I know it's there's definitely like where we are, there are some times where stores will open where I'd be like, this is literally all just bootleg garbage. Like none
Yeah.
of this is official. But then what's funny is like we had a Miniso open up over here, and I've never been to one before. I was like, holy shit, this is just like an Asian Five Below. But obviously not $5. But it was like everything in here is really nice, really cheap, and it's all officially licensed merch. And I was like, this is great.
Oh, man. I've never been to minis. It's Daiso, right? Like a small Daiso.
No, I don't think so. Are they owned by the same one? Hold
I've
on, let me
never
look
heard of
this up.
Miniso. I've heard of
Miniso
Daiso.
and Daiso. I've been to a Daiso. I don't know if they're the same. Let's
We don't
see
have this, but if we
here.
did, I'd check it out.
I'm still trying to like. I've told my wife if we ever get an H Mart
H.
where we live,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna fucking shop anywhere else for like food and shit.
I wonder if they have one here. I think they do have one here.
It apparently is not the same. Here, she actually just snuck in. Are Daiso and Miniso owned by the same company? She says no.
That
So
makes sense. I
I
thought it
don't
was like
think
a
so.
smaller version of Daiso or something. mini stuff.
It would kind of make sense,
Yeah.
but um, Marsh, are you ready to finally free ourselves from this prison of talking about everything besides Shin Megami Tensei?
Yeah, sure, if you want.
We're literally at the dude. We've
It's like
been.
4 hours.
Remember when we started this show and we said, "Oh man, yeah, we may not have very much to talk about. We might have to include the 30-minute talk before the show started." You all are not getting that. No one is getting that 30 minutes now. No one needs it. The show's already too long.
Nah, you don't. You
Way
don't need
too
it.
long.
You have plenty, I think.
Oh my god. Okay, so we've got to leave just for the sanity of us ever hoping to be productive and me actually getting this uploaded tonight. But Marsh, where would you like people to find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Marsh SMT, or you can go on YouTube and type in Marsh SMT. If you want to read my backlogged reviews, you type in Marsh SMT.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm pulling up actually a couple of I got to pull up a list really quick. What have you recently reviewed on
I've been
Backlog?
making gangbusters on backlog, big reviews, big
The
reviews.
the backlogged
I
backlog
reviewed
revenue is just out the
reviewed
roof.
Croc. I reviewed Song of Saya, crazy game. I don't know about that one. I
Can
reviewed.
we get a Croc 2 review anytime soon?
I've never played it. I could try it. I played Croc when I was a
Croc
kid.
2, pretty good. It's not
I
bad.
used to love Croc. I reviewed Sleeping Dogs, reviewed Kirby, a lot of
I
stuff.
gotta know what you don't gotta tell me the review. What score did you give Sleeping Dogs?
4 stars. Yeah, good
Okay,
game.
perfect. I didn't want it to be too high, but that game and its obsession with NPCs talking about dumplings does
Yeah,
need more
pork
love.
bun. Yeah, that game's great.
Poor
I gotta try it out.
I who do I have to thank for you playing that? By the way, that's such a random ass pull.
I guess you have to thank like Steam because like every week it's like, do you want this game for
Oh,
one cent?
it's dog
Please buy this for
cheap,
two
dude.
cents.
It's
I'm like, okay,
it's so
I'm buying it.
Square. No wonder Square Enix shut them down. They've been charging people a nickel that game for the last 10 years.
It's like disgustingly cheap. It's like unfair. Like it's a really good game. $2. So yeah,
We let them
I wrote
down. You should have bought
a
it.
lot of reviews. Um, I have fun with backlog. I don't know if you want to see me like write about things that I'll not do videos about. You can check it out.
I need to, man. I need to stop working and just commit myself to doing backlog more. That just seems like a more fulfilling life, honestly. But when do you think people might be able to hear your opinions? Obviously, it's not done yet. But when do you think the Vengeance video might be up?
This video, I'm hoping by the end of this week. I've never once met a self-imposed deadline. I would say,
They're more of a suggestion than a deadline.
yeah, definitely before August. It's gonna be like a 30, 40 minute type of thing. I thought it was gonna be short, like 15, but got
Much
into
like
it,
this podcast, we grossly underestimated that.
underestimated, and I just, yeah, revisiting the criticisms from the original video and kind of just comparing. So, yeah, pretty soon. Check it out. Hopefully within this week.
Yeah, you've been streaming more as well. Like, are you able to stream more now that you're kind of stuck at home, or is it just kind of depend on your mood?
It's mood dependent because I did Vengeance. I'm like the dad who like doesn't come back from buying milk. I I streamed like half of Vengeance and I was like, yeah, guys, I'm gonna finish this game. I'm gonna stream again tomorrow. And it's been like a month and I didn't come back. So when I want to do it, I do it. Planning to stream again soon, doing like Java phone games. So if you want to see that, it's Marsh SMT again on Twitch.
I can't wait to watch you play God of War Betrayal on the Verizon flip phone of your choice.
I could probably play it. You know what? It's probably on there. I have this big
It's
patch
a
of
great.
all these games. It's probably on there. I'll try it.
Good. Well, everybody, if you enjoyed this show slash stayed awake for the last 3 hours of your life, thank you very much. If you want to keep this show going, someone has to. You can support the show on Patreon.com. 0% of the proceeds will be going to ambulance bills, but Patreon.com/SMTN is the best way to support the show. You can get the show early, exclusive giveaways, and just kind of generally help the show feed bills keep getting paid. Big shout out to all the $5 and up patrons. They get a special shout out as they are the executive producers. So thank you so much. Michael Wilson, Belchill, Cosmic Lumi, Budweiser Tall Cans, Carlos Hernandez, Cross Ren Ren, Winnie, Jagingus, Goro Cero, Solaire, Mirth Mouser, Stephen Yip, Patrick Dissart, everybody for listening. Thank you so much. We will see you next week. Hopefully there will be less news in the world, because clearly foil cover is just we didn't know what to do with ourselves. Imagine if we had like real news, like an Atlus assassination. Like we wouldn't even know what to do on this show. This would just turn into a fucking like 24-hour charity thon.
6-hour stream, yeah.
we'll be diagnosed. We'll be the conspiracy theory of like, all right, looks like the Studio Zero president had an assassination attempt at the top of the Tokyo Game Show hall. We're looking at the diagram. We just got this. Like, it would be bad.
We got a lot out of acrylics, buttons, and foil. So next time it'll be crazy.
All right, goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening.
See you guys.